the Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with Lookers Volvo. The big event is on now with exclusive discounts on approved used Volvos. The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Celtic are the first team through in the Scottish Cup, beating Morton by 5-0 at Celtic Park, and now on to some fantastic 3 o'clock games as well. We will look back on the first game later on. We'll hear from Ange Postecoglou, Dougie Imrie, and look back on it with you on the phones. But let's start going around the 3 o'clock games, because if you're talking romance of the Cup, well, we've got a fair bit of that for you this afternoon. In Gayfield, the most romantic of settings, Arbroath against Motherwell, and Fraser Wishart is there.
I'm here and looking forward to this game, Gordon. It goes ahead. Of course, Arbroath had the foresight to put down covers all week on the pitch. And 60 volunteers were here at 8:30 this morning. Saw some stuff on social media. It was great to see them help lift the covers to ensure the game goes ahead. The pitch looks fine. No wind here at all as well, so no excuses for either team on the field of play. But we always look for upsets at this stage. I heard you guys talking about it earlier on, talking about this perhaps being a potential upset, but maybe not quite as straightforward as that, because Arbroath are actually second bottom of the Championship, just 3 wins all season in the league, and not really in great form, not the Arbroath of last season. In fact, they've lost 4 goals in each of their last 2 home games, but strangely they've scored 6 in 2 away games at Dundee and Ayr, so Dick Campbell will be frustrated with the inconsistency in the form, but he's turned to free transfers from England, some non-league, and just trying to turn things round with a lone player or two. They still have good players who can cause Motherwell problems. We know Michael McKenna, last year's Championship Player of the Year, can score goals in midfield, and Ryan Dow, who joined recently, we will remember from his good times at Dundee United. And we know Motherwell are in a bad run of form as well. We discussed it in real detail last week before the 1-1 draw against Ross County, 8 without a win, last win in Tannadice in October. And they've lost 10 goals in 5 games since the World Cup, and defending will have to be much better today, because Arbroath will put a lot of balls on top of the back 4, a lot of balls into the penalty box, and to that end I think one change that one of the 3 changes that Motherwell made, Shane Blaney is in for his debut, possibly at left back, either him or Lammy, I think for their height, because they'll have to deal with the long balls and get onto second balls quickly, because Arbroath will just put pressure on Motherwell all over the pitch. And I think they need more up front as well. Last week only young winger Stuart McKinstry looked a danger, and to that end Crankshaw, who started that game, he starts again, and Mandron comes in for his first start for Motherwell up front, a big lad they brought in the last couple of weeks. An old fashioned game here, jam packed with fans from both sides, standing in the terraces. It'll be brilliant, a tight pitch. I think it will be an absolute cracker. I mean, you look at the teams for Arbroath, they've made 2 changes, 1 change in goal. Cammy Gill has come in for Derek Gaston, and also David Gold drops to the bench with Bitsindu coming in at midfield. He's on loan from Livy, so they go 4-4-2. Cammy Gill in goals, Scott Stewart, Ricky Little, Tom O'Brien, Colin Hamilton at the back, Michael McKenna, Scott Bitsindu, Joel Baldi and Yassine Ben Elmani in midfield, with Ryan Dow and Sean Adwarka up front. 7 subs for them: David Gold, Dale Hilson, Bobby Lynn, Florin Hottie, Scott Allen and Derek Gaston, and also Rab Douglas, the old goalkeeping coach. He gets a place on the bench because they're short of players. For Motherwell, it looks like Paul McGinn midfield last week will drop into the back 4, because Penny's gone back to Ipswich, Van Veen and Solholm both drop onto the bench, and it looks like maybe either Lammy or Blaney, probably Blaney playing as a left back. Liam Kelly in goals, Max Johnson, Paul McGinn, Ricky Lammy and Shane Blaney at the back. Midfield 3, Callum Slattery, Sean Goss and Blair Spittle. Up front, Ollie Crankshaw, Michael Mandron and Stuart McKinstry. Subs: Aston Oxborough, Stephen O'Donnell, Barry Maguire, Kevin Van Veen, Sondre Solholm, Dean Cornelius, Ross Tierney, Connor Shields and Lennon Miller. And the referee today, with no VAR to help him, is Willie Collum.
So that's not the shock for one of you. Who was it? You were convinced, Gordon Dale, that it wouldn't be, but is it one, Hugh, that people should be looking at, the potential banana skin and all that?
For one simple reason, Gordon, that Motherwell don't win matches. They've had 1 win in the league since October, and they are vulnerable, and on a bad day they are quite shocking defensively speaking. So you have to pay attention to that game. This is an Arbroath side who earlier in the season went to Dens Park and took 4 off Dundee. Therefore they're not bad, and I think
you would probably look at their league position as a more representative factor though than that one game against Dundee, wouldn't you?
But Fraser's just described an old-fashioned football match. People on the terracing having ham and cheese sandwiches with no cheese in them. And it will become an old-fashioned football match when the first whistle blows, because it will be that mad cup tie stuff, and league positions sometimes go out the window. Sometimes
I think it will be a difficult one. So it does for Motherwell, but I like the look of the side now. Penny leaving is a blow, but Stevie Hamill had to make changes, and Mandron and Blaney coming in, well, it's the first look at them, so sometimes that's enough just to give you a wee lift going into a game like this. I think Motherwell will get through in that one.
Yeah, I'm confident, but they'll not get it easy, because Dick Campbell will just be telling these players, because he's done his homework in Motherwell. If there's a weakness, it's certainly at the back. There's no doubt. I know there's changes today. Blaney in for obviously his debut. I wonder how he's going to figure in there, because he's going to get a lot of balls put on top of him, because that's the way Dick will play. He'll play good cup football. He'll get it forward early. He'll try and upset the rhythm of Motherwell. But I just think today could be a wee change for Mull. Go get a result.
Paul McGinn playing at centre back as well, so it could be interesting if there's potential. If you're always looking at lower league opposition versus Premiership opposition, what about Kilmarnock Dumbarton, Roger Hannah?
Yeah, and I spotted a great stat about this game through the week, Gordon. You know, Kilmarnock and Dumbarton are two of just three teams who contested the first ever Scottish Cup back in 1873-74, and are also contesting this season's competition, the third of course being the inaugural winners, Queen's Park. And at a time when we always complain in the show about teams playing each other 4 times a season and meeting too often, it's actually quite refreshing to see two sides who hardly ever meet. There's just been 4 contests between these two teams, all in the League Cup, and all Kilmarnock wins in the last 30 years. And I actually did check last night, none of them were during the Mark Wilson glory weeks at Dumbarton. You have to go all the way back to 1976 for a Scottish Cup meeting between these two. And would you believe Dumbarton won a quarter final, 2-1 at Boghead, and they were only denied a place in the Scottish Cup final when they lost a semi-final replay to Hearts at Hampden. How times change. And you have to go really all the way back to 1959 when Hugh Keevins was still having a piece in tomato sauce for Killie to celebrate a win over Dumbarton in the Scottish Cup, and that was a remarkable 8-2 away victory. So Derek McInnes would love something similar today, but I think he'll probably just take any type of win after what's been quite a taxing week for Kilmarnock. They lost the League Cup semi to Celtic at Hampden last Saturday night, and then lost that chaotic 3-2 Premiership game here against Rangers on Wednesday night. He'll be desperate to avoid any slip-ups against Stevie Farrell's League 2 leaders and secure a place in that last 16 draw. Farrell himself signed a contract extension to the summer of 2025 this week, and he's got plenty of experience in this Dumbarton side that comes here this afternoon, including Greg Wild, who once helped clinch a league title for Rangers here at Rugby Park. So it's been a long time since Kilmarnock have won, Dumbarton have won here, I should say. I think it's back to about 1987. Stuart McIver scoring a couple of goals there, so it'll be interesting to see whether they can put up more of a fight here than Morton did at Celtic Park. Killie, 6 changes from that loss to Rangers. Derek McInnes shuffling his pack after what has been a tiring week for his squad. Zach Hemming back in goal. It's a back 3, Lewis Mayo, Ash Taylor and Joe Wright, who scored that terrific goal late on against Rangers. Across the midfield, Danny Armstrong, who was sent off on Wednesday but is eligible to play because that suspension just covers Premiership games. He'll be in the right. Then Fraser Murray, Alan Powell the skipper, Liam Polworth, who won the cup with Inverness, and Kerr McInroy. And then up top, Scott Robinson and Kyle Lafferty both come in. On the bench, it's Walker, Alston and Shaw, Jones, Sanders and Lyons, Vassell, Alabiosu and Doidge. Dumbarton, 3 changes for Stevie Farrell from the side that lost at Forfar last Saturday. Gregor Buchanan coming into the back, Ryan Blair coming into midfield, and Ali Love coming in up top. Today go with Brett Long in goal. It's a back 4, Aaron Linus, Gregor Buchanan, Stuart Carswell and Martin McNiff. Across the middle, Calvin Orsi, David Walsh and Ryan Blair, and Greg Wild with Ryan Wallace and Ali Love up top. On the bench, Brown, Lynch, Gray, McGeever, Vata, Ryan McLean and Russell McLean, and the referee is Nick Walsh, and after all his technological problems at Hampden when Rangers beat Aberdeen last Sunday, he'll be glad that VAR is not in operation today.
I mean, if you're talking about real romance of the Cup, we've done a bit there. I think Gayfield's romantic. Roger Hannah's given you the stats, the historical significance of this fixture. If you're looking for real romance, we've picked out our most romantic reporter, Dave Galloway, and sent him to Dundee United against Stirling Uni, no less, Dave.
Yes, the romance of the Scottish Cup very much in evidence here as Stirling Uni come to Tannadice to tackle Dundee United in the biggest game in their history. The Lowland League side got here by beating Albion Rovers, for which they were rewarded with embroidered kit bags. They really have nothing to lose today. Some students up against the top flight team. It's quite a thought, isn't it? Just getting this far is a huge achievement. The first uni team for over 50 years to reach the last 32 of the Scottish Cup. Whatever happens today, they'll thoroughly enjoy their day out. Dundee United have prepared for this match in the same way as for any other, as they begin what they hope will be a lengthy Scottish Cup journey. Today's the first time they've played non-league opposition since facing Elgin City, then of the Highland League, some 21 years ago. To the teams then, Dundee United make several changes. Mulgrew, Graham, McGrath, Levitt and 16-year-old Rory McLeod come into the side. Outdrop Edwards, McMahon, Doom, Harkes and Middleton. So they will go with Birigiti in goals. Back three of Smith, Graham and Mulgrew. Midfield, Freeman, Sibbald, Levitt and Behic, with McLeod and McGrath playing behind Fletcher. In attack, the substitutes: Newman, McMahon, Niskanen, Pollitt, Edwards, Middleton, Harkes, Cudjoe and Watt. As for Stirling Uni, well, a couple of changes for them. Gilmore and McGill in for Burrows and Russell. So Fry in goals across the back, Gilmore, Heel, Service and Lavery. In midfield, McGill, Berry and Jarvis, with Stokes and McIver Redwood supporting McKinley. In attack, the substitutes for University of Stirling: Bainbridge, Monroe, Mirzalimov, McCanninch, Russell, Ray, Asanaloglu, Woloslin and Goddick. And your match referee today here at Tannadice, Chris Graham.
Looking forward to that one, I have to say. St Mirren against Dundee, a bit less romantic, I'm sure David Friel won't mind us saying, but a good cup tie nevertheless.
Yeah, a bit less romantic, Gordon. I was just thinking, you ask managers for their views on a cup draw, they always say the same thing: they just want a home draw, and it feels like a cliche at the time, but I think for St Mirren that's definitely the case. They're unbeaten in 10 games here in Paisley, and I think they'll fancy making it 11 today. They lost 4-0 at Celtic in midweek. Probably outclassed, to be perfectly honest with you, but they're strong at home and they're chasing a long cup run. Stephen Robinson did really well at Motherwell and he reached 2 finals, and he obviously fancies more of the same. And I think given St Mirren's recent poor financial results, a run to Hampden would also help in that front, get a bit of money into the bank. Stephen Robinson made 2 changes in midweek. Marcus Fraser and Mark O'Hara are in for Joe Shaughnessy and Ethan Erahon. So St Mirren will be the usual back 5. Trevor Carson in goals, Ryan Strain, Marcus Fraser, Declan Gallagher, Charles Dunn and Scott Tanza. Keanu Bacchus, Alec Gogic and Mark O'Hara in midfield, with Curtis Main and Jonah Ayunga up front. Subs for St Mirren are Rominski, Shaughnessy, Taylor, Flynn, Kilty, Offord, Grieve, Erahon and Brophy. As for Dundee, they're sitting third in the Championship. They were among the favourites at the start. I think promotion's clearly a priority as opposed to the Scottish Cup, but they haven't actually played in a couple of weeks due to postponements. I think it's 15 days since they played, so Gary Boyer will be looking for a big performance to get some of the rust off. I think they've got a lot of experience here. They won here last season as well. They only won 5 games in the Premiership last season, but one of them was in Paisley, so I think they'll feel they have a chance. A lot of firepower on the bench, and they've also added Kwame Thomas from Sutton United this week, so I think Dundee's game plan will be to stay in the game and then go for it late on. It'll be exactly the same, a 5-3-2 formation. Adam Legends in goals, Tyler French, Ryan Sweeney, Lee Ashcroft are the 3 centre halves, with Cammy Kerrett and Jordan Marshall the wing backs. The middle 3 will be Josh Mulligan, Jordan McGee and Luke McCown, with Paul McMullen supporting Alex Jakubiak up front. Subs for Dundee are Sharp, Thomas, Sheridan, Robertson, Rudden, Anderson and Cameron. The referee in Paisley is Colin Stephen, and yet again there is no VAR here either.
Plenty to look forward to then in the Scottish Cup. That's our featured matches for you. Those are our featured matches, I should say. We will go back around them again, continue the build-up. And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now, they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson, Gordon, DL all in the studio. We've got the top team out and about on Scottish Cup 4th round day. Celtic are through, a 5-0 victory against Morton. Just a quick reminder, we've been decimated. Cove Rangers, Ayr United off, Elgin City, Drumchapel off. That's the one that we in particular were looking forward to following the journey up there. Inverness, Queen's Park is off, Linlithgow, Rosewraith Rovers is off. So St Johnstone Rangers still to come. Everything else goes ahead for now. I'm assuming it's going to go ahead. Only 30 minutes until kick-off. The best thing about Arbroath v Motherwell, yes, it is cup romance, but it gives me an excuse to use this if necessary.
Oh, jeezy peeps, man.
Yeah, because I did say, look, I'm not going to keep using it forever. I know that people can kick the backside out of humour, right, and you take it too far, but we're only 2 weeks on. They're actually playing. They're playing against Motherwell, a team that we hold close to our hearts on this show. So surely.
Oh, jeezy peeps, man.
Yeah, you happy with that?
You'll be hoping that you don't need to use it. If you're using it, then it means trouble for your side.
Right, so that's what we'll do then. It's goal flash if Motherwell score, Jeezy peeps if Arbroath score. Is that fair?
Yep.
Happy with that?
Yep,
Okay,
yep, I
good.
look forward to that.
Fraser Wisher, is it although Arbroath are struggling in the Championship, just sort of everything about this tie on paper, is it the last type of cup tie that Stevie Hamill could be doing with at this moment in time?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think he would have taken a whole load of other draws than coming here, because, you know, we were chatting earlier about the fact that Arbroath are second bottom of the league, but they're a better team than that, you know, and they've had a pretty bad spell. It's not the coming here last year. This time they were top of the Championship and they were absolutely flying. They're just looking to get some new players in settled. And last year's Joe Nubley first half of the season, and they had Jack Hamilton the second half on loan, and they haven't really replaced either of them up front. But it's a tricky one. I mean, the pitch is fine. It looks like it might cup a wee bit, but it's in pretty decent nick. As I said, there's no wind at all here. It's a perfect day for football, and I'm looking round the ground. It's going to be a cracker. You know, the fans are coming in. Motherwell fans are coming up here in numbers as well, so a lot of them travelling up beside me on the road up through Dundee. So I just think it's going to be a terrific game, but this is down to the Motherwell players standing up and physically and mentally being strong, because as I said earlier, they will be under pressure. You know, they will play at high tempo at Arbroath. They'll try and get balls into the strikers. They've got big lad Adwaka who's come in alongside Ryan Dow as well. They'll play corners, free kicks on top of them, and so the Motherwell back four in particular are going to have to stand up and be strong. And I think that's why Blaney's come in. He'll play beside Lammy and McGinn, and they'll be the ones who be expected to win the high balls. But I think it's a tricky one from Motherwell, but I think they've got enough. I think they'll just get there by the odd goal. It may even take extra time to get there, but I think they'll go down the road with a victory under their belt. I think Stevie Hamill just wants it all over, to be honest with you, and a victory, and get back down the road and prepare for the league games.
Did I hear you say, did I pick this up right? Both Derek Gaston and Rob Douglas are on the bench.
Yes, I think they're shorter players, and well, there's a couple of numbers in here maybe that the team sheet's missed out the names. But yes, Big Rab's on the bench. He was looking well during the warm up there, and he's knocking balls around. I mean, Rab must be mid-40s, but both
50.
Gaston and Big Rab. Is he 50?
He's 50. Well, this is
He can't be looking well, Fraser. He's never looked well.
He's looking well in you two.
This is what caught my eye, right? So Arbroath's official tweet has got Derek Gaston in the sub-keeper, Rab Douglas also a sub-keeper, and Bobby Lynn's on the bench as well. Between the three of them have got a combined age of 122. Bobby Lynn, Derek Gaston and Rab Douglas.
God,
yeah, apparently so.
Old, Big Rab.
Yeah, apparently.
Good to see him. Good guy. Actually, a Motherwell fan, Rab, and he's youth
right.
as well. So it's a big game for him.
Yeah, apparently so, from Lanark, isn't
I
he?
get a game up there then.
Yeah, well, listen, and you and Dick Campbell as well. You bring a lot of experience to proceedings. Fraser, looking at the Motherwell team as well, a debut, two debuts, and also some other players who've maybe only just made their debut or whatever. So talk about an introduction to Scottish football.
Yeah, totally. And the big lad Mandron, he came on last week. He looked all right. I mean, his record's not particularly prolific, but if he was prolific, he probably wouldn't be at Motherwell. He played for Gillingham. I think he scored 3 goals in 30 odd games at the start of the season. But he did okay last week. Big, tall lads, good physicality, left-sided. He's in instead of Van Veen, who disappointed last week. Despite, I think, the one great play was the touch for the McKinstry goal. So Crankshaw, didn't see much of him last week. So again, looking for him to do a wee bit more. I think it's always a market that Motherwell and other clubs have used, the lower leagues in England. But when lads are not getting a game for Gillingham, not getting a game for Stockport, are they ready to play at this level? And that's a test for these 2 lads. They're going to have to come in and hit the ground running, because today, as you said, it will be a test. Welcome to Scottish football, welcome to Arbroath, welcome to the physicality of a cup tie here. But Mandron in particular, I think, has got a key role to play. He's going to have to hold the ball up and allow likes of Spittle and Slattery and McKinstry coming from the midfield area to get into good attacking areas. But for Motherwell, it's all about them. If they play well, they'll win. But if they're off it, I think Arbroath can exploit this. But for me, I think just and no more, Motherwell by the odd goal.
A learned colleague is quite right. Mandron, I forgot, came on last week, so just the one debut, which would be Shane Blaney in for Motherwell. In terms of Kilmarnock Dumbarton, Roger, again, is it maybe not the exact same, because the gap is bigger between Kilmarnock and Dumbarton as it is than it is Arbroath Motherwell, and of course it's at Rugby Park. But are these ties still a bit of a hiding to nothing for the Premiership sides?
Yeah, of course they are. I mean, Derek McInnes is in a no-win situation. He'll just want to get this cup tie out the way and make sure Kelly are in the heart for the last 16. Gordon, he will already, judging by his team selection and the 6 changes, he'll already have one eye on next weekend when they go up to Dingwall and take on Ross County in the clash of the bottom 2 in the Premiership. That's far more telling in Kilmarnock's season as a whole than today is. So still quite a strong lineup. Kyle Lafferty starts, Scott Robinson starts. They've both had difficult seasons, to say the least, for different reasons, but I think together they've got plenty of experience. There's goals there as well, and I would be surprised in the extreme if Kelly didn't get through by a goal or 2 today.
Yeah, again, the gap's even smaller then, David Friel, on paper between St Mirren and Dundee. So it would be a shock. It wouldn't be seismic, it wouldn't be one of the all-time greats, but it would be a shock. The only thing that might guard against it is St Mirren have done a lot right recently.
Yeah, they have done a lot right, Gordon. And Stephen Robinson's taking no chances at all. I don't think he would disrespect Dundee, but it's a full strength side. Marcus Fraser back, Mark O'Hara back as captain as well. I think Curtis Main and Jonah Ayunga will cause problems for Dundee as well, but I wouldn't write Dundee off. I mean, as I said in the kind of pre-match bit there, they haven't played a lot recently. I was actually looking back now, and they've only played 3 times in the last 44 days just because of postponements. So it was their after postponements in December, then again at the start of this year. So I think Gary Boyle wants them to get some rhythm. I think he's looking for a really strong second half of the season as high promotion, so this was an important game for them. And again, he's gone really strong as well. And you just look at the bench, I mean, Zach Rudding, Killian Sheridan, Kwame Thomas are warming up just in front of me, so there's a lot of options there for Gary Boyle. So even if St Mirren are leading, I do fancy Dundee to come on strong towards the end as well.
It almost feels like these ties can be season defining for some, Hugh, just specifically depending where you are. If you win the easy ones, nobody will bat an eyelid, you'll move on, you'll forget about them next week. But if you lose the easy ones, if Stevie Hamill loses, if Derek McInnes loses, maybe to an extent Stephen Robinson loses, they'll be remembered all right.
I think that's the recurring theme of the weekend, I think, and indeed into Monday night. Monday night is massive for Jim Goodwin. Sunday is massive for Lee Johnson. Today, as you rightly say, for Stevie Hamill. Derek McInnes, because he's at home. I mean, I happen to think that Kilmarnock will win fairly comfortably. I'm not convinced that Motherwell are home and hosed at Gayfield. St Mirren will beat Dundee. I think they're having a good season, St Mirren, and Dundee United, of course. You cannot lose to Stirling Uni at home. That would be too embarrassing for the manager to survive.
It certainly would be quite something, Dave Galloway. You've got an absolute cracker on your hands there in terms of the storyline, the romance of the cup, like we mentioned earlier. Is it enough to make Dundee United nervous, or is there an expectancy that they'll have more than enough for the University of Stirling?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. The latter of the two options you've given me there, Gordon. You know, United very professional in their approach this week, as you would expect ahead of this one. But you know, they'll be looking surely to bag a few goals en route to the last 16. Stirling Uni, all they can do is just go and enjoy themselves, leave everything they've got on the pitch, and just see what happens, you know. And great to see the fans rallying round. There will be round about 1,000 of them here to cheer them on, the biggest crowd that they've ever played in front of by a long way, without a shadow of doubt. And it's also been really good to see how a few big names have got together and sent good luck videos in for Stirling Uni, the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, Craig Brown, Lillian Thuram and the like. So it's all a great backdrop to what will be a fascinating occasion.
Just so Callum looks a touch nervous, I would say. Nothing over the top, but you just can never be too sure.
No, he's up, Callum. This will be an easy day.
Lillian Thuram sending
Where's
a good
he?
luck message.
Why?
There must be some sort of link that I'm unaware of, but there we are. Yeah, I noticed that.
This will be the closest Charlie Mulgrew's been to a uni.
Oh, listen to that. How rude. How rude. After
He listens to the podcast
on famously during the Euros as well.
He's got a sense of humour, Charlie.
He does. I know. All good. Right, we're going to go and start hearing from some of the managers then as kick-off fast approaches.
The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Hugh Keevins, Mark Wilson and Gordon Dalziel are in the studio. They have watched Celtic put 5 past Morton to be the first team into the hat for the next round draw. It takes place tomorrow night. We've got great fixtures to look forward to this afternoon. Sadly, some are off. And Drumchapel United, Hugh, last night we had the co-manager on. They were going up, they were making a night of it. They were on the bus going through Perth, and the game's off this morning. Never good.
Well, guess where they are now? They're on the bus just going through Perth on the way back home. So it's been a disaster. It's a shame for them, because when they beat FC Edinburgh, the talk was of the draw the following day. Could they get Celtic? Could they get Rangers? And they get Elgin away, and it's turned into a real pickle for them.
Just stay up there, make a few days of it. Wait for Tuesday's game.
Yeah, but that is the disappointing thing. See, when you get to that stage, you want the game to be a Saturday as well. You know, because the romance of the cup is all about the Saturday fixture. Travelling up there, getting a good result, travelling back in the bus. Now, if they have to do it on Tuesday and get a result, I'm sure they'll be celebrating. But, you know, that it takes a bit away from it.
Do you know the good thing about it? They'll know who they get by Tuesday. So there'll be a great incentive.
Yeah, but it might be another either or. Then that's rubbish, isn't it?
Well, that's true. But at least I've got an idea. If it's still in the cup draw tomorrow.
Gordon makes a great point.
Thank you.
It could be Elgin or Drumchapel versus Celtic, or Elgin or Drumchapel versus Rangers,
or University of Stirling if they've knocked out Dundee United. I was thinking about our both of the year 2000 maybe. I was young at the time, Motherwell fan, going up, and it was abandoned at half time for wind. I think Fraser Wishart says it's a fairly quiet day on that front, or in relative terms by our both standards it's fairly calm. Let's hear from the management then, Dick Campbell and then Stevie Hamill.
The Scottish Cup's been very good to me in my life, but on a personal level, but from a financial point of view it's very, very important. And Motherwell will have to be know at their work, if you know what I mean. We need to be right up to the metal, right up for the game. Just work as hard as you possibly can, because technically they're better players than we've got. We know that. I know that. But everybody expects a cup tie, an old-fashioned blood and snotters cup tie, son. That's what we're going to get. So I'm looking forward to it.
An old-fashioned blood and snotters cup tie, son.
I'm glad I'm not in that dressing room.
And when he says we need to let Motherwell know they're in a game, that means it will be blood and snotters from the get-go, as they don't say in Arbroath.
Incredible. Let's hear Stevie Hamill's take on it.
Yeah, it's tough to replicate the conditions that we might see at the weekend. It's obviously going to be testing conditions, and it's not going to be, you know, a nice summer's day at Fir Park. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very different from that, and we need to be ready for that. Again, it's a test of mentality and character before we speak about football and stuff like that. It's you know, that's going to be number one, determine who's going to come out on top.
Yes, it is going to be blood and snotters, says Dick Campbell. Stevie Hamill's got a slightly different feel for it, but we're looking forward to Arbroath Motherwell nevertheless. That should be a very fascinating one. We're good, by the way. We will get post-match reaction from Celtic Park in the not too distant future, but let us get the 3 o'clock games underway first and foremost.
If it is blood and snotters and Motherwell win, the headline is Motherwell defeat Mucus.
That's a thought after you've eaten your ham and cheese sandwich. I think we'll leave that there. Let's get some managerial thoughts ahead of the one in Paisley, which is St Mirren against Dundee. Not that many places separate these sides in the Scottish football pyramid, but clearly Stephen Robinson would fancy progression today.
Big strong side. I watched them against Wraith. Gary changed it at half time and he wasn't happy with things, but they've got some good individuals, and McMullen as well. They've got 3 big strong centre halves, physically strong, so we have to match that physically first and foremost. And they've got threats throughout the team. I'm familiar with a lot of their squad. They've not been out of the Premiership too long, so they've signed some decent players. We expect a tough challenge. We'll be treating it like we do any other Premiership game.
Coming up today against Gary Bowyer of Dundee.
Well, it's brilliant. Premiership versus Championship. It's what it's about. The cup, isn't it? There's that romance, and from what I've just been told, we'll take a good following. I think it's a great ground there. We'll hopefully pack out that end behind the goal. We went and watched, myself and Billy went and watched them at Celtic, and you can see how well coached they are and how they're doing ever so well at home as well this season. But we've got a free hit going into this game because, like I say, it's Premiership versus Championship. For anybody to go and knock a team out that is above you, it gives you a confidence booster for sure. Everybody's excited and looking forward to going to play St Mirren.
Like every great romance, it's all the famous quotes that keep getting mentioned. Free hit, Hugh Keevins.
Yeah.
If we're going to use romance of the cup as a cliche, we have to acknowledge everyone out there thinks they've got a free hit against higher league opposition.
I think Gary Bowyer is spot on there, because no one's going to create a fuss if Dundee don't beat St Mirren and Paisley. On the other hand, if St Mirren lose to Dundee, then it's a great feather in Gary Bowyer's cap.
You must fancy Hugh.
Yeah, of course.
Mirren, I like St Mirren. I think they're a decent side. I think they've got good players, but they're in a poor run. You know what I mean? In league campaign, they're in a poor run. You've got a side going there, Dundee. They're third in the Championship. Cup football. I think quietly they'll fancy this afternoon.
Not for me. I think St Mirren will deal with them. I've seen enough St Mirren the past couple of weeks. The results haven't matched. I don't think the performances. I think performances have been decent. I think they'll deal with Dundee, no problem at all today.
Let's hear from, where have we not been in terms of some of these 3 o'clock games. I don't actually think we've got all the managers lined up for you as things stand. Oh, there is. There's Liam Fox of Dundee United. Let's hear his pre-match considerations.
It's not an unknown quantity because we've had them watched a number of times. We've got a lot of footage on them. They've got some good players. They've got some real good energy. They're up near the top of the league, so they're used to winning football matches. But we'll prepare as we always do for every opposition. We always give the opposition respect. But the message is always with me is it's about what we do. So we've prepared right, and we're looking forward to it. There's always a potential banana skin because you're playing a team from a lower league, so the pressure is on us. We want to just make sure that we're through to the next round of the cup.
They're only University of Stirling Uni, only 3 points off the top of the Lowland League, Gordon. So just in case anyone doesn't quite know where they are or know what level they're playing at, they are 3 points behind the likes of Tranent, and Tranent have got a game in hand. As everyone knows, Rangers B and Celtic B can't win the Lowland League. They're above them on points, but they can't win it. So really, if University of Stirling win their game in hand, they go top, if you like, in inverted commas, of the Lowland League. That's the level that they're operating at. They're a good team at the moment.
Yeah, they're no
mugs.
There
we are. Add that to the cup cliche.
Yeah, no mugs. I
I
spoke to some of my colleagues in the Lowland League, and they were very impressed with them. But I think it's a massive task going to a Premier League club this afternoon, especially Tannadice. I don't think that's going to happen.
Everyone in the country is saying, who are his colleagues in the Lowland League?
He knows so much about this side. He's done his homework on them.
Remarkable.
They'll play the 4-3-3.
Remarkable.
But you only have to go back to, was it Kelty, came through the leagues, and remember St Johnson went there and went out. these things can happen. I just think when it's at Tannadice and United have got that experience, they'll win it easy.
Yeah, you can never say never, because you had Drumchapel knocking out FC Edinburgh. Now Alan Mabry, experienced man, the FC Edinburgh manager, they ought not to have lost to Drumchapel, but it happened, and these things can happen. But I just think it's a stretch to think that the University of Stirling can go to Tannadice and put out Dundee United.
Well, let's hear from Chris Geddes, the head coach of Stirling Uni.
I think it's the biggest game in our history, the university's history, so build-up's been good. We've had some good results, a couple of losses, but to be honest, it's to be expected. We've played some good teams, so yeah, we're feeling good about the game on Saturday. I've never been in a game this size. None of the players have been in a game this size, so well, it's alien to us. We don't really know what to expect. Now listen, it's going to be really, really difficult. We need a bit of luck. We need Dundee United to have an off day, and we need to have a very, very good day. We're all feeling happy. We've had a good week so far. It was a good bounce back after losing to Cowdenbeath in the league last week, which was a bit of a shock. Everyone's in a good place. Everyone will be looking forward to it, and obviously coming off the back of a good result is good. Yeah, there's going to be a good backing for the players. A lot of friends and family, some football club members, alumni, random people from the uni coming around, students, staff, lecturer, everyone. There's loads of people going, which is really good to see. It's a big occasion for the university, so the university have helped a lot with this and to publicise the game and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be really big, and it's going to be a real boost for the players, do you know what I mean? Because we're in a big stadium, and it would have been pretty rubbish if there was hardly anyone there for us. But when the boys jog out and they see people supporting us, it'll be a good boost for them.
And in that one phrase, Hugh, we've highlighted the romance of this fixture because there will be alumni coming to watch it. It's never said in Scottish football.
In the long history of the Super Scoreboard programme, that is the first and probably the last time you'll ever hear the word alumni. Gordon Dale, your thoughts on the alumni?
He was just asking if the Janny was going to be there.
I was more interested in the Janny turning up there and supporting the team. I'm looking forward to that, but Dundee United, surely there'll no be cup upset there, surely not.
Well, we will find out. We're not too far away, it has to be said. And if you think of some of the games that aren't on our featured list as well, Roger Hannah, there's still plenty of intrigue. You look at Hamilton, Ross County, for instance, Stenhousemuir Livy, Premiership opposition going to grounds that they maybe otherwise wouldn't fancy spending their Saturday afternoons in January.
Yeah, and as we said in the show last night, it's one of the best weekends of the Scottish football season. Scottish Cup 4th round, the Premiership teams come in. It's a great weekend all the way through, starting with that Celtic win at lunchtime to Perth for the holders. Rangers starting the defence of the trophy at 5:30, and Edinburgh derby tomorrow. And then I know a few Aberdeen fans who might be watching Darvel versus the Dons through the cracks in their fingers on Monday night.
We've still got West of Scotland League representation. We've got Lowland League representation. Obviously Leagues 2, 1 Championship and Premiership as well. So it is set up for a fantastic afternoon in the Scottish Cup. It's already up and running with a victory for Celtic at home to Morton, beating them by 5-0. Will there be any drama? Will there be any shocks? What will the romance look like in the 4th round? The majority of the games kick off next.
Scottish football's league leader. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
One of the best days in the Scottish football calendar. It's Scottish Cup 4th round weekend, where we get all sorts of teams involved. Potential giant killings, banana skins, cup shocks, call them what you want. The added romance of teams that you very rarely hear of throughout the year. And it's all set up to be a fantastic afternoon. There are so many fixtures, I won't ask you to necessarily predict them all, because you lot have hard enough time predicting one. But Hugh Keevins, give me a flavour. Is there going to be a cup shock? Pick me your one cup shock.
I'm still sticking to Gayfield.
Okay.
I don't see a shock or the potential for a shock anywhere other than Arbroath and Motherwell.
Doesn't need to be our featured matches, remember. What are you thinking, Mark?
Ooh, Stanley, Livingston.
Wow.
What?
Big shout.
You asked
from
for a
Mark
shock.
Wilson. No, listen,
I mean,
you
that
choose
was
it, you
what I
stand by
say.
it.
That was certainly a shock.
You're not going for it, you're not agreeing.
Absolutely no chance.
Right, what's yours then?
I'll take Dundee at Paisley.
Okay.
Would that comes in as a shock, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's Championship.
Any team from a different division counts as a shock in my book. Just won't be as big a shock. But anyway, let's get these 3 o'clock games up and running.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
I'm looking forward to it, Hugh. I know
Yeah.
I keep saying it, but there's just not many. There are not any weekends in the Scottish Cup where you go from Celtic Park to Gayfield and wondering what Darvel will bring on Monday night, and thinking about the Drumchapel team who've stayed up in Elgin only to be on the way back down because the game's off. It's got it all.
Yeah, great. Everyone likes a car crash watch. They want to see shocks. They want to see Stevie Hamill under pressure at Arbroath, and they
Speak
want
for
to
yourself.
see Stephen Robinson under pressure when Dundee go there. And Liam Fox, you cannot, I don't care where they are in the Lowland League, if you go out to a team from the Lowland League, and it's the University of Stirling, that's a black mark on your jotter.
Yeah, look, I think there'll be some really good games. I think that we'll get plenty of goals, especially I would imagine Dundee United will put a few by the University of Stirling. But I'm going to keep in my ears firmly on that button at Arbroath. Motherwell need to get the first goal here this afternoon for me.
But they can scar you, Mark Wilson. Unfortunately, some broadcaster decided to post highlights this morning. 10 years ago, Albion Rovers won, Motherwell 0.
Of course.
Played at Hamilton's New Douglas Park.
Yeah,
similar stage of competition. I think they were the bottom tier. That might be the Motherwell team that ended up finishing second that season, or it was round about that time. And
yeah, I mean, I think we always start these days looking at the fixture list and thinking, nah, there can't be a shock there, or that one's a certainty for the Premier League team or the Premiership team to cruise through. But there is always one in there. And you've highlighted a belter, throughout the years that still gives you shivers by the looks of it.
The Cup brings out so much, Mark, especially with the Championship sides taking on the Premier League side. When I was in management, I loved the Scottish Cup playing against the Premier League side because it's such a fantastic record of winning and knocking teams out, unlike yourself, Mark. But I just think that you've got to have the right attitude if you're the favourites. Motherwell going up there, they know what's going to happen today. They'll have trained for that. They know that, it'll not be fancy football playing through the lines. It'll be very much get that ball forward, picking up second balls for Dick Campbell's side, harassing Motherwell, not giving them a minute. That'll be a real cracker up there for
Fraser. Don't even need to go back far. We're only going back to January, a year ago. Kelty Hearts 1, Holders St Johnstone 0. Remember it. Remember the scenes after.
Yes, St Johnstone players had to walk through their own fans to get to the dressing rooms. That's a hard one to recover from.
Where did Hearts go? They had a shocker.
Brora Rangers 2-1 defeating less than 2 years ago. Auchinleck Talbot beat Ayr, didn't they, a couple of seasons ago? Back to your time, Mark, were you involved in any of the Ross County one, for instance?
I was sitting on the bench. That's the day that Edson Braffide walked out, and because I got put on the bench ahead of him. Walked out of Hampden before the game kicked off.
You and him have got beef.
Well, he obviously wasn't happy.
So who started?
I would have been maybe somebody like that. I can't even remember.
You're on the bench, Braffide's not used, so he storms out of Hampden.
So I was injured in the lead up to it, and not a surprise, and I was back fit, trained for a bit, and manager picked me to go on the bench.
I'll tell you what, Stirling Uni had a really, really good opening inside the first couple of minutes, and it was a smart save by the Dundee United keeper in their nice sort of mint choc chip ice cream coloured strip. Are you having that, producer Callum? Are you a fan? He loves it, he says.
Yeah, it's nice. I like that. I think that's
traditionally where's that came from though? Is that just been plucked out of thin air?
Just doesn't look like Dundee United.
It's an away kit. That's the
it's
point.
A market. It's for a market.
It's a third kit. Doesn't need to be based on anything.
Yeah, it's just a seller. You get your marketing people. I used to have a big hand in
because they unveiled it in that famous St Andrew's ice cream shop. Others are available, but Janetta's, for those who are aware of it.
I've never been there.
You're joking.
No,
you've never lived, Mark Wilson.
Yeah,
even this guy who has ham and cheese sandwiches has probably been there.
Yeah, we go regularly from Einster to St Andrews.
Have you seriously never?
I've never been there.
Oh, it's sensational. It is sensational.
A permanent queue outside the shop.
In January it's queued outside.
Yeah,
for ice cream.
It's like the chip,
unbelievable.
like the chip shop in Anstruther. A permanent queue outside.
Yeah, you two need to. In fact, you two go a wee road trip up
No thanks.
We'll film the journey. You can go and buy the new Dundee United strip.
I do like it. You don't strike me as a guy that eats ice cream though.
I'd very seldom eat ice cream.
I'm
not really an ice creamy guy.
Yeah, the type of.
No, look, I'll enjoy it if it's there. If somebody puts it down to me, I'll be rude not to. But no, I'm not really ice cream.
Like a cat getting a bowl of cream put down to him.
You don't get into this shape if you eat ice cream, man.
Anyway, Gordon, just to note, it's actually new signing Shane Blaney and Ricky Lamy that are centre backs. Paul McGinn is at left back and Max Johnson right back. So Paul McGinn in the last couple of weeks has played right back, centre midfield, left back, and he did fill in at centre back. Was it Ibrox?
Ibrox, yeah, and I thought he did reasonably well.
4 positions in the space of about a month.
Yeah, he's a decent enough player. He can play these positions. I think Penny's a big loss. I like Penny at left back. He'll be back to his home club.
Who does that deal though? That it's just that short-term loan.
That happens a lot. The loan till January, doesn't it?
Loan till January and back to your club.
Loads of clubs get recalled, don't they? For instance, Morgan Whittaker, remember him? Rangers fans all looking to see if he plays for Swansea today, then he's not going to come to Rangers because he can't play for 3 teams. He's been left out of the squad entirely. So
he'll be at Ibrox.
Exactly, it might look that way. So he's obviously been brought back from Plymouth to be moved on elsewhere.
With Penny though, I thought he was Motherwell's standout player,
wasn't he?
really good. And I get you have to protect yourself with those deals in case it goes pear-shaped and you're left with a player for a full year that sitting on your bench, but it can go the other way like it is with Penny and it leaves a hole.
Okay, let's get the first half teaser up and running, Hugh, if you're ready.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Very simple, very topical. Name the last 8 Australians who have played in a Scottish Cup final. The last 8 Aussies who have played in a Scottish Cup final.
That's a great question, and it's quite an interesting list. Some will roll off the tongue and others will be very difficult to get for you. So get thinking, get a wee list written down and send them over to us full time. No, I'm getting my addresses mixed up. At Clyde SSB on Twitter. See when you've got too much contact information to remember. Send it over at Clyde SSB on Twitter. So let's see what you've got. A full list is what we're looking for, which might be tough to come up with all of them, but let's see how you go. You two, good start, have you?
Solid start. Yeah,
thought you might. Good on you.
Two, yeah.
Yeah, you putting that one in?
No, I don't think your one's right.
Is that right, Gordon? That one down there.
Let me see. It is absolutely correct. Well done.
There you go.
Not the most obvious one. I didn't think that's where you would start, I must admit, but there we are. Stirling Uni have started well, looking organised. No shots on goal yet for United, but early on. Dundee's Tyler French looks like he's about to get carried off already. Real shame for him. Looks in real pain from a Gogic tackle. So that's a real sore one, literally. Hopefully he is okay. Tyler French, no goals yet in the Scottish Cup. Looking forward for the first one.
Who do you think it'll come?
How many will we commit to this? Will we use the goal flash for every goal that goes in, or only our featured matches? Will we just kick the backside out of it today?
Use out of that button.
Why not?
At the jingle.
Why not?
How much that cost?
No, but seriously, for Scottish,
Scottish
give everyone their big moment. You know, if a Stenhouse Muir goal goes in, they're getting the goal flash treatment.
Too right
they wouldn't normally.
After I put them for my shock of the day.
You did.
Yeah, so get your finger on that button.
I'm ready.
The University of Stirling team, I did ask maybe a silly question. Did all of them have to be at uni to participate in the team? What happens if one of them's an absolute standout and
he repeats 5th year?
he just keeps coming back.
What do you mean? What was the rest of that question?
Well, I was going to say either they want to move him on. Do they get a fee for that? How does that work? Like a team wants to take him, do they just let him go to a team, or they've got a favourite and he's there and he's finished his uni course? Does he just hang about for years round the uni?
Actually, don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I'm assuming it'd be like he would leave what, the full-time club.
Yeah,
or just any club.
Say somebody's a standout here and Liam Fox goes, by the way, I like you, why don't you come to us? Here's a 2-year deal.
Yeah, well, they must be under some sort of contract if they're playing in the Lowland League. Fraser Wishart will be on with an answer, I'm sure.
Or again,
I
when
find
it's
that
the star
very
striker.
easy.
Star striker. He's graduated. He's got his degree.
Well, then he doesn't play for the team after that. Then,
No.
But that's what I mean. And you want to keep him.
See the minute your cape goes up, your hat goes up, you're out.
They have to.
They have to have been at uni at the start of the year.
Start of the year, so they can't leave uni, graduated, and still play on then if they've done well.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
Why
So
would
that's
that?
a blow.
That's
Because
not-
if I'm the manager,
See, when
Put
you
this
started
guy out
off,
his misery,
when you
please.
started, I thought that was going to be a good question.
Oh, yeah.
And then by the end, I'm like, what bit? You know,
I think that's a good
they
question.
need to be at the uni. That's
I
it.
know.
I thought at least you were saying, yeah, the transfer bit or whatever. Do the uni receive a
Yeah.
fee? That's a bit more.
Well, that was my first question. We'll go for
nuanced,
that one. That's
if
quite
you
a
like.
good one. We'll stick with that one.
Honestly, why no VAR at Gayfield? McKinstry has the ball in the net. Willie Collum disallows for a foul on the keeper by Mandron.
Willie Collum. Oh, there will be
Motherwell have
action there.
Started
then.
well, apparently.
There'll be something there. There'll be a penalty there.
Where is Wally?
Gayfield.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
Gayfield, a man
Gayfield.
for the big occasion, a showman.
Oh, how it'll be exciting up there today.
I was
So
amazed that
he's-
Fraser says no wind there.
He's ruled out a Motherwell goal.
It's one of the worst
already.
places in the world to
I was
play.
there.
It's not windy
I was-
today.
I was
Fraser's
there on
told
Thursday.
you. Weatherman Wishart has told you it is not that windy today.
It was stunning on Thursday. Sun was out. Golf course looked magnificent along the coast. I was doing my homework, Daz, just checking the ground to see what it was like, and it's held up to the weather. Oh, yep, good shout. Another good shout for Daz.
On the teaser, you back
Yeah.
on it, are you?
Yeah.
So there we go. Right, no wind at all, says Fraser Wishart. I think he's still talking about the weather.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he is. By the way, that's a proper serious one at St Mirren, still delayed. Talking about oxygen and so on for
Oh,
Tyler
dear.
French. So hopefully he makes a speedy recovery, because it doesn't look too good at all. From a Dundee United corner, the ball is cleared off the line. So the first sight of goal for Dundee United in that mint green strip that producer Callum likes so much. I have
It's
to
a
say, I'm
dashing strip.
with you on that.
Yeah, it's
I
a
like it.
dashing strip. I
It's
like
not obviously nowhere near as good as Motherwell's black and luminous third strip
That's the
from this
best
season,
one.
which is the best.
That's the best one. They should wear that more often. Have they had it on yet in match
What
day?
are we wearing
Wearing
today?
Date? No, right, okay.
I'll be wearing
I
that
think,
today.
I think so. I haven't seen any footage, but the team graphic had that kit, so you'd have to assume so. Yeah, they are. Fraser Wishart, fashionista, has confirmed it.
Have you got it yet, Daz?
No, unfortunately, it's my birthday coming up soon, so I'm just waiting. There's no point going out and rushing and getting it, so I'll wait till March. Big date, 16th.
Make sure no one forgets.
Just in case MD's listening.
So is that a year since we went out for your 60th?
That's a year, yes.
Wow, not that you'll remember it, but it was a great
That was
night.
a good night. I don't know where
You
we
can't
went, but it
remember
was
the
a good
start of
night.
it when I met him.
Ah, that was good, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
he was
A year
in-
ago, though.
He was in a jolly mood when I met him early doors, and
It was a great evening, I've got to say. Great entertainment.
not for us sitting listening to you. It wasn't it?
Wait till I go to your 60th.
I'm a bit jealous because goals are starting to go in like the English lower leagues and so on, but nothing in the Scottish Cup yet.
Been
Come
slow,
on, I'm ready. This goal flash button is poised and ready. Max Anderson's come on. Even the St Mirren fans are clapping the Dundee player off. I think it's one of those where everyone can tell that it's a real serious one. So we wish Tyler French well. Ricky Little has gone off injured for Arbroath, so they've been forced into a change. David Gold on. It's maybe living up to the, what did Dick Campbell call it?
Blood and snotters.
Blood and snotters, he said.
Is the Golden Boy playing for Arbroath today? Mark's
You're
sidekick?
going to have to.
Scott
You're
Allen?
going to have to elaborate.
Is he on the bench?
He is on the bench, Scott Allen.
Oh, right.
The
Okay.
golden boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
he-
you're jealous, eh? You're
yeah.
He
bitter.
loves him.
Did you hear this, Hugh? Mark
He-
Wilson and Scott Allen struck up a very good bond on Super Scoreboard
I heard
in
it,
Gordon
yeah.
Dale's absence, both with their flowing
Yeah.
lock
Great.
of hair.
Old
Should have
Dundee
heard them,
United
Hugh.
boys.
Gordon was so
Hugh,
jealous.
Look at your teeth.
Chatting
Look
about
at
the
your
old
hair.
days.
You know what I mean? Oh,
It just
he'll be-
took to it
he'll
better
be-
than.
Hugh, he'll be in Turkey in 10 years, mate.
What would Jock Wallace have done with the pair of them?
Exactly. They couldn't have handled Jock.
East Fife 0, Stranraer 1. So we're getting goals north of the border, but that's not a cup tie, is it? That's a league match, League 2. So Josh Walker's 14th minute penalty. Come on, give me some cup madness to get stuck into. Why don't we, whilst we're waiting on a slight, or whilst we've got a slight lull, Hugh, do a quick visit to that first half teaser?
Yeah, very, very straightforward. Name the last 8 Aussies who've played in a Scottish Cup final. The last 8 Australians who've played in a Scottish Cup final?
You can see that question written down on Twitter at Clyde SSB for the avoidance of doubt, and that is where you send your answers in as well. D3L says Viduka must be one.
No, he's not.
He is not. James Milne wants to throw in Ben Garuccio.
No.
He wants to throw in
presumably Scott McDonald, I guess. It's McDonald, he says. No.
Skippy? No, not Skippy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aidan Gilhooly wants to throw in a man who's just signed a 5-year deal at Hearts, Kai Rolls.
No.
He's just here this season, isn't he? So we've not got to
the
the cup final.
He
might be fine. Now let me run a quick steward's inquiry past producer Callum. This won't work on radio, but I'll just do some hand signals.
What are you doing?
Okay, right, we can rule that one out. Derek FM wanted to ask about Jason Cummings.
No, he's not there.
Because he's too far back. That's it, right, okay. Nothing to do with his nationality, because it is, of course, football nationality when we do it. No, you're miles off it.
I know how he was showing you. He keeps showing me.
Listen, I want you to think about this. I'm going to out you to the audience here. You've just heard me say that Jason Cummings is too far back.
Oh, did you?
You've then turned round and held up a bit of paper that says Tony Vidmar.
No, I didn't say that. That does not say Tony Vidmar.
It just says Vidmar here, right?
Right, okay.
I was trying to spare your blushes. I kept saying to him, Gordon, no, that's not right.
But I've got the rest of them. Good player, Tony.
I'm not doubting it, but anyway, Brian has shed some light. Lillian Thuram is an honorary graduate of Stirling Uni. I told you, romance of the cup.
Right, okay. See, that's what you really want. You want an honorary graduation kind of degree, don't you, from a uni? That'd come in handy instead of going for 4 years and actually learning something.
Just an honorary one.
Aye. So if anybody's out there listening and they want to throw one my way,
I don't see it. I think you and him are safe. No,
would you fancy that?
What?
Doesn't matter.
Hugh, bring some sense to this.
Well,
do you listen to any of this show?
No.
Even though you're on this show?
No, really.
The last person I saw getting an honorary degree was Lulu.
Well, look at her. She got put out the Masked Singer 2 weeks ago.
You've shown yourself up there.
By the way,
I watched some guff on the TV, but I
did you not see her? It was the first week.
Nah.
She got put out.
Oh well.
What was her character or mask? I should say.
What was she dressed up as? A budgie or something?
It was something like that.
There you go. Wee budgie.
My daughter was graduating that day, and I thought Lulu was one of her teachers. And
you ever met Lulu? You?
No, I saw her that day get her honorary degree at the Caledonian University, but I've never actually had the pleasure of meeting her.
Yeah,
I thought you were. I thought you would. Are you into the Masked Singer? Because we found out recently in the show that you seem to operate in like mascot circles. You personally know Hoopy the Huddle Hound.
Yeah.
You personally know Chaos the Panda from Ayr United.
Yeah, I know a few of them. I like the Masked Singer. I like the.
You like dressing up, basically.
I like dressing up. Yes.
Take it off.
Take it off.
That.
Yeah. I like shouting that as well.
Any goals? Anyone, please? Anywhere? Any goals? O'Hara's shot has been saved from the edge of the box at St Mirren. That's all I've got for you. Please, if teams need any motivation to score, it's going to stop Gordon Dalziel shouting "take it off."
He's Ange Postecoglou or Dougie Imrie.
Good idea. I'm glad you're here. It's almost like I should be paying more attention. Whilst we're waiting on some goals going in, here are the post-match thoughts of Ange Postecoglou. And listen carefully, you particular, Gordon, because I know you don't listen. There's some good detail in here about players potentially leaving, as well as thoughts in the game.
I mean, it's a cup game, so you kind of know that the result is everything, and the only sort of concern you have going into these games is how we approach it and our attitude. I thought the boys' attitude was great. They worked really hard, and as I said, we scored 5 goals and contributions from everyone. So it was so I thought it was a positive day.
An update on Josip Juranovic.
Okay, yeah, I said so he's been given permission to travel, and I think he's got to do a medical with Union Berlin. So I assume if all that goes well, then he'll move. I think he's been fantastic. I mean, I've loved working with Josip. He's been a real popular member in the dressing room. He was a key contributor last year to what was a a very, very important season for us, in the context of, what had happened the year before and the fact that we had to rebuild the team and try and get back to where we wanted to be. And in terms of champions, he was a key component of that. He's very well respected within our dressing room, very well liked, will be missed, but as I said before, that's the nature of football.
What was you thinking on leaving out Giakoumakis? Was that?
Yeah, he had that little niggle. He trained yesterday, but it's fair to say there's a fair bit going on with him in the background as well. And, my view is that it's not just about the physical, but it's about the mental too. And I had a good chat to him. And, I think, until he's sort of, there's some clarity about sort of what's happening with him, I think, as well as the physical stuff, I just thought it was better off to leave him out today.
Well, a nice tribute to Josip Juranovic as he prepares to go to the Bundesliga. He was a key component, to quote Ange Postecoglou, when the rebuilt Celtic won the league title last season. So Celtic will get good money for a good player who did a good shift.
His opinion on Giakoumakis so is slightly shifted.
There's a shift, I was going to
say. Yeah, because the other night he was left out the squad because he was injured, and before that it was everybody's here and he treats them all the same and until he hears otherwise. And now it's mentally with him as much as
fair
physically
bit going on in the background.
Bit going on in the background, and that was part of his decision to leave him out. So I think Celtic fans can read into that obviously talks are ongoing. I think again, my opinion, I think Celtic should try and keep him, but I think that's moved along significantly.
I think they've made up their minds that they want O from Korea, and that they want whatever profit they can get for Giakoumakis. That will pay for O, and in his own mind, I think Ange Postecoglou knows that Giakoumakis has played his last game for Celtic.
It certainly seems that way. Just listening to the manager giving us a bit of a hint there, Gordon.
Would we say Juranovic definitely has?
Oh,
I
yeah,
don't think
for
there's
sure.
much doubt there, and heading that way for Giakoumakis.
Yeah. I'm with Mark. I think it will be a loss. I think he's brought so much to the Celtic team, especially goals. He gives them something different. He's a great player to have coming off the bench. Some can argue that he should start, but that's a very hard argument with the form that Kyogo's in just now and banging in the goals. So, yeah, just listening to Celtic manager, I think he's dropping hints that it may have been the last you'll see of Giakoumakis.
The whole transaction has been a pretty odd one. See, when you think about it, and players going out the door at Celtic in recent years, there's been a lot of split, with even Edward and Christie and people like that who had served the club well. It was, they wanted to go and let them go and we're getting money in, or their time's up, or no, they can still do a job. Giakoumakis, the majority of people or Celtic fans that I hear and speak to want him to remain at the club. And when you're banging in goals and you're contributing, then it's pretty unusual for a club just to lay the path down for you to go as well. I wonder what's actually went on behind the scenes for it to get to this stage, because a lot has got to happen. I don't think it's as simple as a player going in and saying, I want more minutes, so let me go. Because David Turnbull is a prime example. Ange Postecoglou, no thanks.
Yeah, but I don't know if there's a bid on the table for David Turnbull, so that would maybe make it different. What about if you add in the possibility that Ange Postecoglou is just comfortable with it? So if it's a combination of player says I want to go and manager thinks
when you go
I can upgrade him, that's fine. That I know that's boring, but maybe sometimes the most obvious answer is the right one.
But the thing is, when your player's still producing and he's still scoring goals, it's very difficult to say I'm certain I can upgrade him, because say he brings in and he comes with a good pedigree.
But Juranovic, it would be the same. I mean, one of the it's going to have to be an absolute task for anyone to be better than Juranovic was.
The full thing is the players must be the drivers behind us. Players often come to Celtic, and this is what drives me nuts, come to Celtic and give it it's the only club I wanted to play for, and they've got posters on the wall and I know all the songs.
Is that your one? Yeah,
but you know what I mean. And then quickly they're wanting to move on, and
But listen, you can't blame him. Mark, what age is he? 28? Round about that. He's going to go and probably get regular football. He knows that he's playing second fiddle to Kyogo. I know that Mark can have the argument, we can all have the debate that Kyogo's been injured and, you know, give him a run of games. We don't know what's in the contract. I just feel that Postecoglou's a manager that thinks, right, okay, if your head's not on it, you want to leave the club and you want to go and play elsewhere, yeah, I'll go and get a replacement for you. But I will say it will be a difficult replacement because I think the guy's got everything.
But it's not came from the manager. Ange Postecoglou hasn't just woken up at the World Cup one morning and says, by the way, I think I can get an upgrade in Giakoumakis here, so you know what, I'm going to say to Michael Nicholson, let's move this guy on in January.
No, maybe not his idea, but an absolute willingness that if it comes around, that the player does initiate it, that he's comfortable with it.
Well, sometimes I think he's a manager that's no nonsense, and if he's got a choice between the player being distracted and not contributing as much and then letting him go, then I think he's pretty definitive in that he will let him go. But I find the whole saga a bit of a shame that the player and the agent.
We've got our first one of these, and it is a big one.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And does Mark Wilson have the crystal ball? Stenhousemuir 1, Livingston 0. Nicky Jameson on 26 minutes puts Stenhousemuir in front against Premiership side Livy.
Not just Premiership, fourth top Livy. There's a Celtic, a Rangers, a Hearts and a Livy, and they've had a terrific season, and that is a setback. But all I can say is Livy, they will come back.
Header from a corner, brilliant start for them. Oh yes, now we're getting there.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's a goal, Motherwell. Mikel Mandron on his first start for the club, a recent recruit to bolster Stevie Hamill's attack, and he has found the back of the net. That will make Stevie Hamill feel a bit better about things. Clearly it was there were a lot of eyeballs on that one looking for a potential shock, and there could still be, of course, but a good start. 26 gone. Mikel Mandron finds the net to make it Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1.
That's the start he was looking for, you've got to say. Good for a lad to start scoring goals. Van Veen on the bench today, a big player for Motherwell. But for me, in that cup tie, Motherwell had to get the first goal, and that will just settle them down.
And there's a bit of a theme in the last few weeks. The main attacking threat, Gordon, seems to be Stuart McKinstry. It was, a lot of his work here. He drew the keeper, then passed it to Mandron to provide the finish. So he's been a real positive.
He's been excellent. He has been a positive, Gordon, chipping in with goals as well. Obviously an assist today. But as I said, that will do Motherwell the world of good. Build a bit of confidence, because I could totally understand why Hugh was going for his shocker up there, because it was a difficult game. But I just think Motherwell, that's one for them today. Just roll their sleeves up and get into the next round of the cup.
I'm going to contradict myself, because I wanted to keep using the goal flash button, but when you're deep in the middle of listening to Ange Postecoglou or whatever, it's hard. One I did fail to tell you about was Alloa 1, Falkirk 0. Luke Donnelly with the goal there. So first blood to Alloa, of course, both operating at a similar level in the Scottish pyramid, so no real shock either way as such. Alloa 1 up. Ryan Strains had a free kick over the bar for St Mirren. This is still goalless. They're goalless in all of our featured games, with the exception of Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1. Of course, we're going to get to McDermott Park a bit later on. I'm not sure many St Johnstone fans are, but we will, and we'll build up to St Johnstone Rangers.
Are we sitting here a bit surprised with the score at Tannadice?
Yeah, I am.
I think Dundee United supporters would be a bit disappointed, but well done to Stirling so far.
Yeah,
I think possession wise it's been all Dundee United, Mark, but there's been a couple of scares, if you like, for
certainly in the first few
United,
minutes. Stirling had an opportunity. United had one cleared off the line. They could have scored with a rebound, but you expect a wee bit more if you're the home side. I made my debut in kind of similar tie to this. We played Forest Mechanics for Dundee United. I was on the bench.
That's very similar.
Very similar. Been on the bench quite a lot, didn't you?
Well, I was only 17-year-old.
Well, so what's up with that?
And I came on, and we were lucky enough, we were 3-0 up. But by the way, Cal might be able to tell me different. I think it was a similar start to the game, and then the second half went on, we won it comfortably. I came on at 3-0. Made all the difference.
Midfield dynamo.
Came on in midfield, and then started the Dundee derby the following week, so
How
I must
did
have
that
made an
go?
impression in my 10 minutes.
How did that go?
I'll be 1-1 now.
Who did you
Man of the
replace?
match. Oh, I don't know, Jamie Fulton.
Yes.
What?
Good knowledge.
Did you?
Good
Yes.
knowledge, Mark
Oh,
Wilson.
shout that is.
Yeah, good knowledge. I like that. So Celtic fans, get your thoughts in order, and don't forget to share them with us on the open line. Yes, I'm sure you were happy and interested in the game and some of the play and some of the goals, but perhaps Ange Postecoglou's post-match interview there is what you really want to talk about. Giakoumakis left out because there's a lot going on in the background, and Juranovic left out because he's been given permission to go and speak to Union Berlin ahead of a move to the Bundesliga.
A lot going on in the background also means, in terms of bringing another player in, what's going on in the background is one's going out and one's coming in.
Yeah, I guess that wouldn't directly, that bit of it, that side of it wouldn't upset Giakoumakis too much. I guess he's just trying to get his future sorted. But either way, Celtic fans, do let us know what you make of that on the open line a bit later. Hugh, a wee reminder of the question if you can.
Yeah, straightforward Scottish Cup question. Tell me the last 8 Australians to have played in a Scottish Cup final.
Okay, I like that question, and most of you are getting close. Stephen sent me a message as well with a few names on it. I think Stephen's got most of them. Let's try and do some more wrong answers so we can help people along the way if they're struggling to get there. And William Howitt wants to throw in Craig Moore.
Throw him back out.
Too far back, isn't it? Too far back. So's Kevin Muscat, Gordon.
Yeah.
Who had him?
You. Along with Craig Stafford as well.
I don't even know who he is.
What do you mean?
Kevin Muscat?
No, Craig Stafford.
That's a listener who's tweeted in. This guy.
I feel he's distracted today. By the way, his mind's not on it.
More than usual.
I'm thinking, who did he play for?
Where are you going tonight? What are you doing tonight that's distracting you?
Masked Singer. I'm doing impersonations of the Masked Singer.
Get your head on your job. Think about tonight later.
Aidan would like to throw in Aaron Moy.
No.
Not played one yet. So we'll find out. Okay, keep them coming. Dundee United, what have they done? It is a Rory McLeod drive from the edge of the box. Wasn't far away, past the post. Is he 16? Still 16, isn't he?
Unbelievable.
Nowhere near 17 yet, or is he? No, it is. It's next couple of weeks he turns 17.
Frightening,
incredible.
I mean, they just keep giving kids a chance at this club. Well known for it throughout the years. Must say that's why I signed for them. I decided to go there full time and had other options because I knew there was a pathway, like I was chatting about with Celtic.
It's always been like that.
Always,
yeah.
Before I came along, during my time, after me, the amount of players that have came through.
What were the other options?
Me, could have went to Blackburn, could have went to Man City, of course.
No.
Do you want me back up on Man City?
No, to be fair,
Man City only signed
Showed you the
top.
he
contract.
brought the letter. That's right, he did. He
How
brought the
did he
letter.
type up a letter? I'll bring you in a
As if
contract.
he's going to type up a letter. Where would he get Man City headed paper?
Yeah, that was true.
That's right.
Wasn't
I
a
forgot
forgery.
that. Wow.
But was it to be a schoolboy, as an S-form type thing?
Obviously.
No, this was full time. I was at Dundee United as an
but I mean,
S4.
you were a kid though.
I was a kid.
Yeah.
Aye. But they wanted to sign me. Big bucks in it does. Yeah.
Well,
I would have probably been earning more at Man City than you at Wraith Rovers. Put it that way when I was 16.
When I went
with that
down there and
contract.
picked up my brand new Saab, that's when you. That's when you know. Saab.
Is that the same? Is that the one you used to use to drive straight back to Motherwell after every game and for the reserves on a Saturday?
Yeah, I get caught coming up with them 6 men.
Was that a club car?
Yeah.
So many.
Saab.
Can you imagine the confusion?
Beautiful.
I don't even know if they had this technology back then. But I've just got visions of a police officer outside the Hamilton Palace checking the register. Why is this Man City club car at the Hamilton Palace every Saturday night? How can this be?
By the way, I'll tell you one better than that. My world record was I played against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge and I was in a nightclub in Coatbridge at 1 o'clock that night.
That's good.
It's very good.
Not one aeroplane involved.
No, right up the car, boom, Saab, turbo diesel. There you go.
Good, I'm delighted for you. Anyway, no more goals to tell you about in the Scottish Cup. United have had a bit of territory, some set pieces and trying to find a breakthrough, but the students are doing pretty well, Hugh. They're standing up to it.
The alumni, yeah. For me, ever so slightly embarrassing for Dundee United if it gets to half time and it's goalless. I mean, they're not even an SPFL club. You should be doing better.
He's a harsh critic. What if they go 1-3 in the second half?
Well, I'll think about it.
To be fair, I was expecting some goals at Tannadice. I've got to be honest.
Goals everywhere. Actually, I was expecting.
We could be doing
it's a bit
with
quiet.
more. I'm not going to lie. We could be doing with more. That would be nice. Dougie Emery, anyone? Shall we?
Did they have a pop at VAR?
Well,
That's what I want to know.
You would imagine so. That'll do as whilst we're waiting on some more goals.
First 15 minutes of the first half day, I thought we'd done really well. Had some good opportunities, just never took them, and then good old VAR kills the game. I don't know where referee's meant to put his hand. It's took a deflection. He can't move his hand. But that's just what we need to live with now with VAR. I remember watching a game at Tynecastle. It took 6 minutes to make a decision. So it's killing the game. It's killing the fluidity of the game. It must be brutal for players. I certainly wouldn't like to play with VAR at the moment because it takes so long for decisions to be made. It's just disappointing. That's the third game in a row that we've had a penalty given against us. For any sitting here that's seen the one last week, certainly not a penalty, and you never get a call from the people above to say, listen, we apologise, but listen, it is what it is. We then let ourselves down. We conceded a goal so early after the VAR, but I think the boys were a bit disappointed obviously with the effort they put in for the first 15-20 minutes. Listen, the rules are the rules. I think there needs to be a clear message to what is a penalty, what isn't a penalty going forward.
Just one tiny, potentially unrelated detail. Of the 42 clubs in the SPFL, who were the only club that voted against the introduction of VAR?
You're going to say Morton.
I'm going to say Morton.
And that for me is some quote from a manager. VAR is killing the game. Clearly the game will not die, but the game has gone down an awkward road now, and it is a worry because things are happening now that there was never in the history of football a penalty.
I think
against Effie Ambrose.
I think when the players and the managers, the people who are involved in it and playing the sport, start, having concerns that are all aligned, then you have to sit up and take notice of that. It's different if it's the fans and there's that bit of bias towards it, but I think everybody every week has a pop at this, and it's not now how long it takes to make the decisions. It's actually how correct they are when they're being made.
Look, this is maybe where we need to be specific, because it feels like the main problem, although VAR gets a lot of headlines, is it not the combination of VAR and the handball rule?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's not the system that's there. Presumably, I can't back this up, right, but this is the way it should work. Presumably, if Kevin Clancy gets a really good view at that and takes everything into account, he gives a penalty in real time, because he went over to the monitor and came to that conclusion. So the disgrace of the award, VAR's interesting, and it takes time, and why does this happen and that happen, but is it not the combination of VAR and the handball rule that's causing real chaos?
And also the referee. I think it's a three-pronged attack on the game. Kevin Clancy should have gone over, had a look at that, and seen what the rest of us saw. That it hits Effie Ambrose accidentally on the arm. He knows nothing about it, and if that's a penalty, we have invented a new game.
Yeah, Gordon, I know that it gets boring every time I dust off the rule book and read the really specific wording, but I think that's what you have to do, and this is the bit that people are now really starting to question. Fine, IFAB, FIFA, Scottish FA, if you say that's a penalty, fine, but why? What bit of it? What bit of that matches the rule? And if there's bits in the rule about making yourself bigger, hands being outstretched, does Effie Ambrose do that? No, not really. The ball is deflected off of a teammate who's right next to him. It's not going towards the goal, which we've heard apparently is some sort of guidance. They're a bit more strict if the hand stops the ball going towards goal. So why was that a penalty? That's what people want to know.
And only the referee can explain that. VAR obviously has got positives with the offside rule. It gets that right, and we want it VAR in to help the referees. But the controversy is certainly the rule in the handball, because Matt rightly says, as a defender, sometimes your arms have got to be in a position to keep your balance or make a tackle or whatever it may be.
Here's the thing, I don't even think you would bring that into play today. You're right, sometimes there will be, you've lunged in, you're trying to block, your hands go out, you jump, your hands go up. I don't even think it gets that far for Effie Ambrose. His hand is fairly low.
So you've got to ask the question then, what did the referee decide to give that penalty kick for? What did he see that
Because
we didn't see?
In his own mind, he's thinking they were a good long look at that upstairs.
Yeah, but fine, then it's the same question. Why does the VAR think it's a penalty?
Well, I have no idea, because if this is new football, it is clearly new football, because never in the history of the game that we know would that have been a penalty kick. And I think that Kevin Clancy should have said, listen gentlemen, thank you, I've had a look on the monitor, it's not a penalty. Overrule the people with the technology upstairs. Be a man who takes responsibility for the game you're supposed to be handling, and he did a bad job there.
So does the VAR. That's the point.
But
they've looked at it loads of times and they think it's a penalty.
It's VAR that's refereeing games now, and that's the disappointing thing, not referees, because when you get to these decisions, you said yourself, very few referees will go to the screen and go against VAR once you get called over.
I don't know, that's just psychology that you'll never get away with. That's worldwide, isn't it? We've known this since before. Long before it came to our game, when the ref goes over, you get these one or two examples where they do change their mind, but by and large,
it's the handball rule needs to be looked at by IFAB at the end of this season. Get the season out of the way and have a further discussion about it, because you can't go from Tynecastle last week, where the St Mirren player, the Hearts player handballs at St Mirren are denied a penalty, and then go to that one today, and then all of a sudden it changes, it's a penalty kick. What is the real difference in that? If it hits your hand, it's a penalty, that's fine, everybody knows where they stand. If there's certain other rules you want to put into place, fine, but don't change the rule every week. Nobody knows where they stand.
Well, that's the thing, you have to assume nobody's changing the rule, just weird
different interpretations
of it. Celtic Park's like a hotbed for it, it seems. If to put all that sort of club allegiances to one side and who's been more hard done by than the other, I think we as a team in here, we can always held up the Matt O'Reilly one as being the worst of the season, didn't we? The one against Ross County was just utterly bizarre again, if you look at the rule. And the Effie Ambrose one probably goes into to that sort of bracket today. Anyway, we've got another one of these in the cup.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Partick Thistle 0, Dunfermline 1. Kyle Benedictus with a 42nd minute penalty. I suppose technically I said any team from a lower division, that's what constitutes a shock, so that would be a shock. Partick Thistle 0, Dunfermline 1. Kyle Benedictus.
I flagged that up to Mark at the beginning of the game, that Dunfermline would be a tricky cup tie today. Centre half taking the penalty kick, full of confidence, a decent boy, played at Wraith, scored a few goals as well. So that's a good start for the Pars.
Yeah, goal in the league game that's on down there, East Fife 0, Stranraer 2, James Hilton. But in the cup, that's another goal. We've been looking for more. We need a bit more. Alloa are 1 up on Falkirk. Motherwell 1 up at Arbroath. Dunfermline 1 up at Partick Thistle. And the biggest shock so far would be Stenhousemuir 1, Livingston 0.
Only a shock if you didn't see it coming, but some of us did see it coming.
It's a bit early to be smug about that, I must admit. I'll tell you what, Hugh, shall we round this off then whilst we get the chance?
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
The last 8 Australians to have played in a Scottish Cup final are Nathaniel Atkinson, Cammy Devlin, Martin Boyle, Jackson Irvin, Tommy Rogic, Ryan Edwards, Oliver Bozanic and Ryan McGowan.
I know for a fact you two did not get Oliver Bozanic. No chance, but loads of people out there did, because they're much smarter than us. So well done to Mikey in third place, Shug 2205 in second place, and Dylan Patton was the winner. Well done. I really like the Who Am I that we've got in the second half, so stay tuned for that. But well done to those three, and thank you to everyone who took part in the first one. What did you get? 5? You
Five, yeah.
Was Bozanic the missing one?
Bozanic.
Oh, there's 8. There's a couple missing.
We missed 3 out.
Yeah.
Got one of these in the cup on the stroke of half time.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's an equaliser for Falkirk. Alloa 1, Falkirk 1. Brad Mackay on 45 minutes. Good time to score and all that. Changes the half time team talk. There we are, we're level, and it must have been literally on the stroke, because that has gone to the break now, which means we're close in our featured matches. Maybe a bit of surprise there that there was no goal mouth action or no goal scoring breakthrough in the first half at Tannadice, or has there been?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Goal Dundee United. Aziz Behic, a couple of months ago he was mixing it at the World Cup, and today he's up against Stirling Uni and he's opened the scoring on the 45th minute. Great time to score, really good time on the turn into the top corner, and that makes it feel a lot different at Tannadice heading into the break. It's half time in Arbroath. Fraser Wishart.
It is half time. Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1. Not been too much trouble so far for the Firth Park side. They've been pretty strong physically when needed, with Blaney and Lammy excellent at the back and decent on the ball. And they're ahead through the first goal for the club by Mikael Mandron, their recent signing, and he won't score an easier goal in his career. 5 minutes have gone. The first chance from Motherwell, Blair Spittle with a good snapshot. His left foot hit the side net. Then McKinstry the ball in net, but correctly ruled out by Willie Collin for a foul on the goalkeeper in the build up by Mikael Mandron. Mull had started well, moving the ball quickly, a few decent crosses into the box. They're both really struggling to get into the game, but no real chances for Motherwell. Real blow for Arbroath. Regular centre back Ricky Little limped off, replaced by David Gold, but Sindhu's gone back to centre half. And the game had a bit of a lull, real period of scrappy play with both sides. Couple of corners for Arbroath, put a bit of pressure on Kelly's goal, but that was the only time really in the half when they threatened Kelly's goal. And in 27 minutes came the opener, a lovely ball by Blair Spittle, put McKinstry through 1-1. With his first touch he could have tried to score himself, but he cleverly just touched the ball to the side, and Mikael Mandron 6 yards out. He could have walked the ball into the back of the net. He just tapped it into the open goal, the kind of goal that strikers love. Arbroath had a penalty claim. Dwarka tackled by Blaney. Willie Collin again correctly said no penalty. Then Arbroath keeper Gill had to be quick off his line to stop Spittle, who's been excellent in the first half. He dived at the feet of the midfield player as he broke through and could have given away a penalty, but he timed his lunge perfectly. Then Dwarka had a shot, but from 20 yards he should have done much better than shoot weakly wide. But chances for both a real premium, and in particular for Arbroath, who I don't think threatened Liam Kelly's goal at all. Still a lot to play for in the second half. Arbroath will need to play better, they probably will, but Stevie Hamill I think will be pretty pleased with his side so far, but he'll want a second goal quickly in the second half just to give him and his supporters a little bit of comfort. Half time at Gayfield, Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1.
Half time Stenhouse Muir 1, Livingston 0. It's also half time at Tannadice. Dave Galloway.
Dundee United 1, Stirling University 0 at the interval. Gordon, a bright start by Sterling Jarvis with a 3rd minute shot parried by Birigiti. United went close when Levitt's drive was deflected for a corner from which the ball was cleared off the line. The home team very much dominating possession in this first 45 minutes. Fletcher was adjudged to have handled the ball before his close range effort was cleared away, but the visitors had a decent penalty claim turned down when Stokes took a tumble inside the box. No VAR of course today. They were looking fit and well organised, Stirling Uni, and trying to get forward. They certainly were not by any manner of means parking the bus. However, 16-year-old United midfielder McLeod wasn't far away for making it 1-0 to the hosts with a decent drive from the edge of the box that just went by the far post. However, the Uni students, they were giving a really good account of themselves. McKinley sent a really inviting ball right across the goalmouth, just begging for a touch, but no takers. The deadlock finally broken by United in the 45th minute. A neat turning shot from Behic finding the top corner of the net. But a really fascinating first half here at Tannadice. Dundee United 1, Stirling Uni 0.
So close to being a very, very nervy scoreline at the break for Dundee United, but they have indeed found that breakthrough. What about Kilmarnock Dumbarton? You've been a bit quiet in that first half, Roger Hannah.
Yeah, and so's the game, Gordon, and there is anxiety at Rugby Park. Kilmarnock 0, Dumbarton 0 at the break, and the League 2 pace setters have been quite comfortable against Premiership Kilmarnock. Danny Armstrong, he's available for this game despite his red card against Rangers on Wednesday night, and he initially started to work hard down that right hand side, create chances. He played a ball in after 21 minutes. It was met on the stretch, but Joe Wright, who of course scored that terrific goal against Rangers later on, this time the big defender, he just couldn't repeat that fine finish, an effort off target. Kyle Lafferty, he's up top with Scott Robinson, both recalled by McInnes this afternoon. He had a chance after 25 minutes. It was a deep cross to the back post. Lafferty went up above Gregor Buchanan, headed it back past goalkeeper Brett Long, but it was headed back off the line by left back Martin McNiff, who did really well on the cover. Kilmarnock have had a lot of the ball, but they haven't really troubled Brett Long too much. Liam Polworth, who was a cup winner with Cali Thistle 8 years ago, he stood up across from the byline. It caused a bit of concern, but Buchanan managed to get it away as well. And the frustration's beginning to creep into Kelly, the captain. Alan Power, he got a warning for chopping down David Wilson in the half-hour mark. Brett Long, he then came off his line sharply to save at the feet of Scott Robinson. But really, Dumbarton, they have looked comfortable in this first half. You can tell that frustration's growing for Kilmarnock. Both Lafferty and Armstrong, in quick succession, they were penalised by referee Nick Walsh for petty shoves in the box, just trying to get that extra little bit of space and just trying to get a glimpse of goal that they haven't got so far. Joe Wright again, he threatened after 37 minutes. He reached Fraser Murray's corner at the back post, but it was off target and didn't threaten Long's goal at all. And then Fraser Murray, he headed over the bar as well, off target from a Polworth cross. There's been a lot of huffing and puffing from Kilmarnock in the first half, but I think Stevie Farrell will be by far and away the happier manager at the break. They're comfortable. Kilmarnock 0, Dumbarton 0.
Could there be a shock on the cards there? I'm sure Derek McInnes will have some harsh words for his team at the break. We've still to get you the half time from St Mirren against Dundee, but worth bearing in mind that was delayed significantly due to that injury to Dundee. So we'll give you the half-time story and a roundup of all the scores next.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
It is half-time everywhere now, so let's get the story of the opening 45 from Paisley with David Friel.
Half-time, Gordon, St Mirren 0, Dundee 0. Roger mentioned the anxiety at Kilmarnock. There's a little bit of that here as well. Dundee have the better chances and probably should be ahead. St Mirren haven't really been at it at all. It hasn't been a classic overall, and a lot of that's probably down to the horrible early injury to Dundee's Tyler French. French actually went into a tackle with Alec Gogic on 6 minutes, and he was penalised. The foul went against him, but he came off first. He needed oxygen, he was in serious pain, and he was carried off during a lengthy delay. It's a huge blow for Dundee in the promotion, but he's a mainstay of the team, and Cammy Kerr also up top before the break, so it's been a costly first half for Dundee, but they have played well. It took a while for the game to get going after that injury. St Mirren had a few attempts, not many clear-cut chances. Mark O'Hara, Scott Tanser both fired over from 20 yards. Ryan Strain also had a free kick saved. Dundee soaked up a bit of pressure, then had a couple of good chances of their own 35 minutes. St Mirren Scott Tanser made a brilliant saving tackle as Max Anderson raced in and goal. From the resultant corner, Lee Ashcroft, so dangerous in the air, had a free header, but he somehow missed the target. St Mirren, as I say, there's a bit of anxiety, a bit of frustration creeping in. Dundee have started playing really, really well. While Cameron come on for injured Cammy Kerr, and he almost scored in the stroke of half time. Ball into the box, great volley, but a terrific save from Trevor Carson. Dundee are playing well now, St Mirren not so much. They really need to lift it. Half time, St Mirren 0, Dundee 0.
Well, could there be a couple of shocks on the cards? A bit of work to be done yet, we have to say, but it's always a fascinating weekend of Scottish Cup action. So let's run through the half-time scores for you as it stands. One full-time result, of course: Celtic 5, Morton 0. At the break, Alloa 1, Falkirk 1, Arbroath 0, Motherwell 1, Dundee United 1, University of Stirling 0, Hamilton Accies 0, Ross County 0, Kilmarnock 0, Dumbarton 0, Partick Thistle 0, Dunfermline 1, St Mirren 0, Dundee 0, Stenhousemuir 1, Livingston 0, with St Johnstone Rangers still to come. And a quick look at the English Premier League results, if you're that way inclined. At the end up, Liverpool 0, Chelsea 0, that is full time. At the break, Bournemouth 1, Forest 0, Leicester 1, Brighton 1, Southampton 0, Villa 0, West Ham 2, Everton 0. And we will be back with the second halves next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
About to get the second halves underway then in the Scottish Cup fourth round 3pm kickoffs. Let's check in at Gayfield, where I assume it's still the break. Fraser?
We're just about to kick off, Gordon. I don't think there's any changes at the moment from either side. Of course, that one change by both Ricky Little went off, but you're looking at the bench. Scott Allen is the one name that stands out that might come on at some point if he's been out injured for a wee while, though, for a Broth. They certainly need somebody that's going to put their foot in the ball and is going to maybe create something, because so far, fairly comfortable for Motherwell without being their absolute best, but it's been a good professional performance so far. But Steve Allen want that second goal. Second goal will kill this game, I think.
Yeah, Motherwell doing what the likes of Kilmarnock and St Mirren haven't managed in this first half. Roger Hanna, like, you can score a goal and win a game at any time, but I assume the locals down there would prefer one nice and early, just settle those nerves, don't give Dumbarton any further belief after the break.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And the thing was, if you'd come to me after 40 minutes, I would have said Dumbarton have never been in it, but it was just beginning to creep in an attacking sense. It was a Greg Wild corner after about 41-42 minutes. It somehow got smuggled away, and they were beginning to see a little bit of the ball in the Kilmarnock half. Dumbarton, and that'll be a worry to Derek McInnes. He does have plenty of attacking options in the bench. There's 3 strikers there: Ollie Shaw, Kyle Vassell and Christian Doidge are all on the bench, as is Jordan Jones. So if he gets 10-15 minutes into the second half still without a breakthrough, he could turn to his bench. But yeah, I think it's been an anxious 45 minutes for Kilmarnock because they're not creating a lot at all, Gordon.
And the United feeling more comfortable after that goal on the stroke of half time, Dave?
Yep, the team's just out, just kicking off now.
Yeah, that changes everything, that one, Mark Wilson, doesn't it? If you think just the different feeling trudging into that dressing room 0-0 against a team of students, up pops Aziz Betch and changes it all.
Of course it does, because the pressure then starts to mount. Liam Fox obviously has ideas. I don't think it'll change his team talk that much, but it just eases the pressure off the players for the second half.
Right, let's get these second halves up and running then.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Goal Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Trade accounts available now. Call them today.
By dictionary, and made up dictionary I should say, definition, Hugh Keevins, if we're talking about what does romance of the cup mean and what does free hit mean, for there to be a shock on the cards at half time, I take it the team has to be leading. So we can't apply that to Kilmarnock yet. We can't apply it to St Mirren yet. The only shock on the cards would be Livy.
We file Kilmarnock and St Mirren under cause for concern, but not yet in the shock department. I am shocked by Livy. As I say, they're fourth in the Premiership, and they have got there deservedly on the back of very good performances, but they're letting themselves down today.
I'm a bit surprised with Livingston. I'm sure Oakleview is at AstroTurf, am I correct in that? So it's not like it's a strange pitch to them. And Hugh's quite right there when he highlights it. You're sitting fourth in the top league. I think you should be taking care of that. I think David Martindale would have probably had some strong words at half time. He'll be looking for a reaction, and I wouldn't be surprised if Livy get back into his cup time very soon.
They've had lots of the ball, just not managing to do much with it. So we'll keep an eye on that one closely. And sometimes you're forgiven for thinking that the weird, wacky things only happen in Scottish football. I know we do make a bit of a habit of it, but Southampton and Aston Villa players have been taken off the pitch because a drone is flying above St Mary's Stadium.
Oh,
so there we go. I don't know.
Why is that not like? No.
Yeah, I don't know what the drone is there for.
Could be anything.
Okay, dangerous.
Tactical.
Frank Lampard will be hoping one flies over West Ham very, very quickly, because he's 2 down and this is his last day at work.
Reportedly David Moyes was facing the sack if he didn't win as well today. So,
but Everton have turned into the most toxic club in the UK.
Not great, is it?
When directors are warned for their own personal safety not to attend matches at their own ground, then that's pathetic.
Did you see the Everton player getting out his car and chatting to the fans? And I get fans want to communicate with the players, but certain way of doing it without putting yourself in harm's way. It looked like it could have got ugly pretty quick.
I've been in that camp before.
They would be bottom of the table today if it stays the way it is.
Everton will.
Yeah,
he's a goner. I mean, they'll sack him after the match, and that'll be that. It's interesting where they go next.
Any managers up here that would be of interest?
Well, there was one who played Everton in Australia fairly recently and was mentioned in connection with them.
Would you take that just now?
No, I wouldn't touch that with the proverbial barge pole. It's Ange Postecoglou has got many things to do yet at Celtic, and honestly, I wouldn't go anywhere near Everton for anything.
Well, they've still got a manager, at least for the next 45 minutes, so we'll find out. Kyle Vassell has replaced Kyle Lafferty at half time. Kelly really needs something, don't they?
Is that an injury or just hooked again? 45 minutes in?
Remember, he had the suspension, he's missed a lot of football, so it may just be a change, try and freshen something up and get that goal that'll ease the nerves down there at Rugby Park. I like them, Barton. I've said it from day one. They're not back.
You have said it from day one.
Yeah.
And you've backed it. I hope they don't win that league. I don't mean that against Dumbarton. I just hope for your sake they don't.
Is John McGinn playing for Aston Villa? Presumably not.
No.
Because he's tweeting about the drone. And I was checking, hold on, that is involving Aston Villa. He just tweeted, "World's gone potty," and then a wee gif of a drone. But he's not playing today.
Not long ago in the Premier League.
Yeah, you know why he's not playing anyway, don't you?
Why is that?
He's in the Love Island Villa.
Oh, so he is.
Have you seen
Very
this
much
John
like
McGinn
him.
lookalike? Well, it's the weirdest thing because he doesn't look like John McGinn, but there's this weird resemblance. One of the guys on Love Island, Hugh. This is why you and Gordon need to get involved. Our colleague Andrew McLean, part-time football reporter, part-time Love Island aficionado, he tweeted it the other day. He became a viral sensation.
You don't have to be a looker at it,
because he tweeted. But
I'm not saying John McGinn.
This guy is.
But this it's
John
it's hard to
McGinn's
explain.
I've got John McGinn's look.
It's hard to explain.
You can't
do.
You can't have a go at that.
And do you know what's funny about this? I sent the picture to Stephen McGinn and said, "Is it?" I take it everyone's getting in touch to point out the likeness, and he says that John himself says they've got similar eyes.
He must be well chuffed with that one.
Delighted.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Andrew strikes me as the type of guy that would go into Love Island, though. That kind of the way he acts and that. Yeah, 100%. But Hugh, you'll need to switch it on. ITV2. Saturday nights are good because it's all the uncut bits usually. Is it for the week?
How much TV do you watch?
I only watch TV between the hours about 7 and
Because every
half
junk
9.
programme that's been mentioned so far, you watch it.
I'm across all channels, just like to keep abreast of things in case anything pops up.
Anyway, we're back
Flick
underway
through the
in the 3 o'clock games, looking for some action in front of goal between Kilmarnock, Dumbarton, St Mirren, Dundee. Certainly Dundee United, what a crucial goal that was to get just before the break. Remember, we've not restarted at St Mirren because of the delay in the first half, and there's no VAR there. David Field says thank goodness, otherwise he'd miss the start of the Masked Singer if there was a further delay to this game. We do have a goal in the Scottish Cup.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's an equaliser for Partick Thistle. Aidan Fitzpatrick on 51 minutes. He's levelled things up for the Jags. That's a good way to start the second half.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think Thistle got a little bit of a habit of that. I don't know what Ian McCall's half-time team talk is all about, but he certainly gets a reaction. That's a good reaction. Get the crowd going, gets them back in the cup tie. Home advantage. Can they go on now and cement a place in tomorrow's draw?
When is tomorrow's draw?
It is at 6 p.m.
Who's doing
I'm
it?
reliably informed. It
Who's
is at
doing
6 p.m.
Who's the draw master?
Sean Maloney is the special guest.
Oh, right,
Are
okay.
you wearing your new
I
jumper?
don't touch the balls. Don't have a new jumper actually.
Do you not?
Maybe Mike
Good
will
dress
get
for
one
life,
tomorrow.
is it?
Maybe I should.
No, we're
Yeah.
not.
Maybe I will actually.
Do you have your facts ready? I'm always
give us a
always
couple.
like that.
How can I when I don't know what teams are going to get in the draw?
Okay, we'll give
We
you
need
one.
to wait and find
We'll give
out
you one
who's
that's in
in
the
the
draw. Yeah, give us a fact about
That's
Celtic.
simple. You would just say, won it more times than any other or something for
good
Celtic.
one.
Good, I
wouldn't you?
like that. Right, okay.
As it stands, Stenhouse Muir, right? Say they go through.
Struggling
The
there, I must
Warriors.
admit. Well, with that though, you would
Playing an AstroTurf pitch.
No, but you would just probably reference how they got there for something like that.
Beat Livy.
Caused a major shock at the weekend, beating Livy. So you've got to
Dundee
mix it up.
United, the Tangerines.
My friend producer Callum supports this team. No, I don't know.
No.
You said 94
Four.
winners, wouldn't you? Something like
Is
that.
that the one Craig Brewster scored?
Anyway, the man who's played
Hold on.
more games than anyone.
That stat. Hold on.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Stenhousemuir 1, Livy 1. Scott Pittman, so it might be Livy survived an early scare to see off Stenhousemuir. See?
Just kicks in there. I like
anyway,
that.
Scott Pittman, so often reliable man for Livy, and they have levelled. That's us only just restarted in Paisley. So
why don't you get Rod Stewart to do the draw?
Yeah, I get a funny feeling he's not allowed back, but I don't
He
know.
should do every draw.
He really should.
Yeah.
Shouldn't he?
Every draw.
I can't see Sean Maloney doing that tomorrow, can you? Doesn't strike you as the type.
Is it the numbers tomorrow?
What do you mean?
4?
Yes, absolutely.
Do you think the teams are just
No,
written
but
on
some draws do that, don't they? But they
Oh,
open
the paper.
But I think
It's a bit awkward,
that's
isn't
a
it?
real recipe for disaster.
You can't get the ball
Can't get it
open.
open or whatever. So they do the balls, which means the only stumbling block should, touch wood, be the 6 and the 9. Right? There's a line. There's a line underneath it. Right, so that you know which way to hold it.
Right.
But I think 2 rounds ago we had a bit of an incident.
Who was it?
Ryan Jack. He won't thank me for saying it. But when it was live, it was out there. It's not like I'm throwing him under the bus too much.
So he got it wrong, did he?
Because you obviously practice first, don't you? You do
Oh,
rehearsal.
you have a practice row, don't you?
And everyone always says, look, you don't need to know much, but bear in mind, line underneath 6 and 9. He nailed it in the rehearsal, not a problem. Then when the rehearsal finished, he even said, oh, that's stressful, isn't it? Trying to make sure you get the 6 and the 9. I said, you scooshed it, right? We then do the real draw, and the first ball out is 6, the first one. And what are the chances after us having that conversation? And on we go. And a few minutes later, he pulls out another one, and I just hear him say 6. And luckily, I don't know how, an alarm just went off in I thought, no, we've had 6 before. So we just, I think that might be 9, and on we went. But that's it. That's all that goes into it.
You're just hoping you don't get one of the balls in.
I wouldn't like that. So I get the easy bit.
Yeah.
See, once you get that thought in your head, I'd get them mixed up.
You see,
guaranteed.
You should only have University of Stirling players doing it, because they're football players and educated.
Well, they are losing at the moment. That is
not
what
that
you
clever,
need to
are they,
know.
Hugh? They're losing.
But that means we've got plenty of time on a Sunday.
I'll be tuning in to see you tomorrow, Gordon. I'll be a supporter.
Brilliant. There are changes for St Mirren, Erehon and Grieve, for Gallagher and Ayunga. That's the change for St Mirren. Dumbarton now threatening Kilmarnock. Kelly punter's not happy. Zach Hemmings had to make 2 saves there in quick succession.
As I say, they have become a cause for concern. The days dragging on, and they're not scoring, neither St Mirren nor Kilmarnock scoring, and they are causes, plural, for concern.
That's when you get nervy. I can't believe I'm going to bring it back up again, but I will never forget the Albion Rovers day. And it just slowly but surely starts to feel like that, because by and large these teams are not going to outplay the Premiership team for the full game. It's not like that. It just feels like a pretty close game that narrowly starts to slip away. They get their one moment right, you don't get yours right, and before you know it, you've got a result that people will bring up on radio shows in 10 years' time.
Well, it's easily done, and that's why another old cliche, let's get an early goal and kind of put this game to bed early, because Premiership teams are desperate for that. It just knocks the stuffing out of teams and it makes it a whole lot easier. But as it drifts into the second half,
quick turnaround.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Stenhousemuir 1, Livy 2. Stephen Bradley, a recent recruit from Hibs, has found the net, and the turnaround is complete there. Hugh, we need to get this up and running quickly.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Kieran Trippier and Stuart Findlay. I've been managed by Tony Mowbray and Kenny Shields. I've played in the top 2 tiers in Scotland and in England and in one other European country. I won 2 major domestic cups in 2 of those countries, but not Scotland. Who am I? So I played alongside Kieran Trippier and Stuart Findlay. Been managed by Tony Mowbray and Kenny Shields. Played in the top 2 tiers in Scotland and in England and in one other European country. Won 2 major domestic cups in 2 of those countries, but not Scotland? Who am I?
Great question. At Clyde SSB, I know that's a lot of information. I can't remember it all, and I'm standing right here. It must be tough. If you want to see it written down, go over there at Clyde SSB on Twitter, check it out. And incidentally, that is where you send your answer as well. At Clyde SSB, give me one tweet with one name, and let's see if you can beat everyone else. Gordon DL, inexplicably, you're very good, very, very good at the second half teaser.
I set him up last week, but I'm struggling.
You struggling, are you?
Yeah, there were a lot of information there.
Yeah.
We're just devouring it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there is a lot of information on there, but I think I think that's one of the tougher ones we've had.
I've already submitted a guess. It was batted away by Shug. So
what was it? I don't mind doing it nice and early. Kyle Lafferty. Incorrect.
I went in the Burnley route there.
I would like to say you're close, but
I'm not miles away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, thanks.
As helpful as that is.
Thanks for coming.
We won't be too far away from checking in at McDermott Park to get a build up there. Don't know how many St Johnstone fans are going to show up. Not many, if the reports during the week are to be believed.
Well, they've absolutely shot themselves in the foot. You know, the decision to give up 3 of their 4 stands to Rangers supporters is seen as betrayal by the St Johnstone fans, and you've got to work harder than that with your own supporter base.
Well, we'll speak to Gabriel in the not too distant future, I hope. We'll get some team news as well. Interesting to see what Michael Beale does. Will he, like he suggested he would, rotate his goalkeeper back again, which would mean a 5th game in succession with a different goalkeeper from the previous match? Alan McGregor set to come back, but we will take a look. Bobby Lynn has come on. El Mani has gone off for Arbroath as they look for an equaliser. Motherwell, if we're talking about Killie really needing a first and St Mirren really needing a first, it still gets nervy when you're 1 up, Gordon, doesn't it?
Because you don't want that to go into extra time. So you need that second goal.
What are you trying to say? That you want to spend as little time in Arbroath as possible?
Exactly.
With no offence
you
to
want
the
to
good
go on
people
the
of Arbroath.
supporters bus, train, whatever you went up there in, bike, earn at all, car down the road.
Imagine Fraser sitting there.
I know. I love that. Oh yeah, we like a wee bit extra time.
Do you know that because you don't understand what it's like to be a football fan. You wouldn't even go from Motherwell to Arbroath for a game, would you? You think that's ludicrous because
Absolutely no
you're
chance.
too lazy to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So I've got friends who are away up to the game today with fans that have come over from Norway and Finland, who come over every now and then to take in a Motherwell game, and this one coincides with a trip to Arbroath. Do you not be better going directly?
Yeah,
Just cutting out the
probably
Motherwell bit. Be closer.
Yeah,
Anyway.
you've actually I went over Arbroath, have you, to get there?
They wanted to see your art galleries and museums.
Yeah, exactly.
in Motherwell.
The Heritage Centre is a sight to behold. Right, we've got another one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Good signing this is turning out to be. Stephen Bradley from Hibs gets a move to Livy, who are above Hibs in the table because he's not getting a look in at Hibs, and he goes to Livy. And he's performed quite well so far. He's got his 2nd of the afternoon and Livy's 3rd. The first one a free kick of high quality, and he's now added a 2nd. So the potential shock, the only one that was on the cards, is back off it again. Stenhousemuir 1, Livy 3.
Well, on cliche day, it's a game of 2 halves. Not a goal in the first half, poor performance, and now they are, as you young people say, smashing it.
You could say that's been put to bed now. You can't. Well done to Livy, because listen, if Steny had to go out there and make it very difficult in the first 15 minutes of second half, puts a bit of pressure on you. You got to get that goal back quickly, and they've obviously put that tie to bed.
We do have a Rangers team already from McDermott Park. Let's get it from Gabriel.
Thanks, Gordon. Yeah, 3 changes for the Scottish Cup holders since their 3-2 win over Kilmarnock in midweek. Alan McGregor comes back in, as does Ryan Jack and Malik Tillman, with John McLaughlin, Glenn Kamara and Scott Arfield dropping out. The team is as follows: Alan McGregor in goal. The back 4 stays the same for the 6th game in a row. It's James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davis and Borna Barisic. It will be John Lundstrom and Ryan Jack in midfield, with Malik Tillman just in front of them, Fashion Sakala off the right hand side, Ryan Kent off the left, and Alfredo Morelos leading the line. The substitutes are McLaughlin, Cholak, Kamara, Sands, Wright, Arfield, King, Devine and Lowry.
For many people, Gordon DL, that would be Rangers' strongest team that they've got available at the moment.
I'm not surprised. It's going to be a difficult cup tie. Of course it is. The manager hinted that McGregor would be back in nets today, and I think
back where? Sorry,
back in nets.
Okay, I'll let that slide for now.
No, that's a phrase that's used very much so in Scotland, and I think it's the right choice because I think he's the best goalkeeper out of the three. Not surprised Ryan Jack. I think Ryan Jack's been in good form, Gordon, chipping in with goals as well, and Tillman, who's a favourite now. So that is a very strong Rangers lineup.
Morelos is becoming an interesting item once again. Some fans wanted him out the door altogether. Some fans wanted him to sign a contract extension. That tells you that he turned into an enigma. But the enigma has started to score goals again, and to look remotely interested once again. And his 2 goals at Kilmarnock midweek were well taken and timely. So Michael Beale is getting a tune out of Alfredo Morelos.
All the other noise around him, Hugh, just goes away if he scores goals.
Yeah.
When he doesn't score goals, then his performances get analysed to the finest margin, and people start saying, well, get him out the door. But if he scores goals, then Rangers fans will have him in the team all day long. Is Cholak fully fit again? No. Roof injured, so very little choices to play up there.
Is this why just sometimes you don't need the answer right now, and you don't need to rush? Because as it stands right this second, maybe Rangers fans don't really know if they want to keep Alfredo Morelos. That's fine. You can allow your opinion to develop with the passage of time. As it stands, presumably there is no bid for Alfredo Morelos, so you can't offload him and get money for him. Just sometimes you get a less than ideal set of circumstances, and you have to let it develop.
They won't get an offer for him because nobody would buy him right now. But he has to make himself an item once again. An item that people would consider.
At a cheap price, somebody would not take a gamble on him.
Why would
he's,
you?
He's a goal scorer.
But you can get him for nothing in the summer.
I know that, but for a cheap price just now, if you were desperate,
what's cheaper than zero?
I know that I'm
Because
talking
the
about
only
getting
reason-
services there now till the summer. It's been done before.
Yes, but generally, that if a player's in form and you can get him for nothing in the summer, you say, well, I want to get in before other people do. You maybe take that chance. It's not likely that someone bids just now, is it?
No, but what I'm saying is that it could be a cheeky bid went in, because the one thing is, if you get Morelos back to his sharpness, he will score you goals. Of that, there's absolutely no doubt.
But he's still way off that sharpness required.
Listen, I'm not disputing that fact. I'm making the argument that it's a guy that if you believe you can get working in the right direction, he will score you goals. So someone before this window finishes could maybe just make a cheeky bid and say, right, I can get him the cheap, I can get him in early, he'll knock me a few goals into the end of the season, and then work on him this summer.
Who's going to do that?
I don't know.
Which team?
I don't
Which
know,
league?
but I just thought I was building a fantastic case.
I listened to the argument. Dreadful.
It's not, well, stop me any time.
Is that Rangers? Is that Rangers' strongest team available for you at the moment?
I think so. I think when you look at even the midfield
Tillman back in,
area,
that sort of
Tillman is your creative force, with Lundstram and Jack just sitting there, and the forward three kind of picks itself just now. You can't leave Sakal out because what he's contributed in recent weeks. Kent finding some form at the minute, and then Morelos is really your only fit striker, so strongest team at the minute.
Greg Kilty's come on for Keanu Bacchus, so St Mirren needs something. It's still goalless at the moment. Same for Kilmarnock, goalless at home to Dumbarton. Dundee United only 1 up against Stirling Uni, or are they?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's 2-0, a bit of breathing space for Dundee United, and the fairy tale run for the students seems to be heading towards its conclusion. Jamie McGrath with a bicycle kick to make it 2-0 to Dundee United, and that will probably be that, yes?
Dundee United have graduated with honours. The alumni are out on their alumni.
Still time for it to be a 2-1, of course.
Well, nice. I like that. Yeah.
I don't know that one.
It's an old tune.
That's one right over
Just
my head.
forget it, it's fine.
But well done to them. Well done to them for hanging in there for as long as they did.
Sounds patronising.
I know.
Grieve has scored for St Mirren, but offside, and of course, no VAR.
Where's the 3 games in? I
Bonkers,
take
that.
it St Johnston's one tonight.
Yes.
Where's the other one? Celtic today, and
is it a good goal, Mark, or are you?
Great technique, gets on target, so always applaud that. I just think the goalkeeper might have done better there.
You're a bit hard on goalkeepers, Mark.
Well, you have a look at this.
The student goalie.
Oh, come on.
It's just it's
he
only
got a pair of gloves for his Christmas, that boy, with that said.
Celtic Park today, Hibs tomorrow, and St Johnstone are the only 3 with VAR.
It's bonkers, that it really is.
But then if you, it is right, I get it from that from the outside, but if you look at, okay, how does that happen and how can you arrange that differently? It is obviously we're not having it at any of the grounds that don't have the VAR capability. That goes without saying. So the only ones you're looking at, Dundee United at home, St Mirren at home, and where's the other one? And Kilmarnock at home. It's then up to the clubs. Do you want the extra cost? Do you want it deducted from your cost, or do you not? And if the clubs don't, then they don't.
But
and sometimes when you've got that outside big picture that everyone thinks that's crazy, that's madness, but when you think of the reasoning, what other choice have you got than to shrug your shoulders?
Well, look, we're not on this, because same down south with the FA Cup as well, that some fixtures have got it and some fixtures hadn't. I just think when it's the same tournament, it should be a level playing
I
field
get that.
from start to
How
finish.
do you get to that point? You make clubs absorb the cost,
or you just say there's no VR
Or
in this
at any
tournament?
other- at any
because
other
surely
game,
the
right,
majority
okay.
of the teams don't have VR. It's only a select bunch that's got it, so you have
At
to go
any
with majority.
stage?
Yeah.
You maybe bring it in then, maybe in the
Semis,
semi-finals, in the final.
We had that before, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we were just implementing
But
it.
to watch this round and see some fixtures with it and some isn't, then, and even those teams that have the capability of doing it, I mean, how could you live with yourself if you're put out the cup and the money that could bring in later rounds if you've chose not to have VAR? Just take a decision out of their hands.
Maybe you choose not to have VAR because you think we'll have a better chance.
Exactly, could be the opposite.
Yeah.
And is this not just a byproduct of the world of football catching up with technology, in the sense that there's going to be haves and have-nots, and when you mix them in cup competitions, you're bound to get the odd quirk?
I just keep hearing Dougie Imrie, the Morton manager, saying VAR is killing the game. The victim of a ridiculous decision today. Celtic would have won the match anyway. They have far too much quality to have suffered any other result than an emphatic win. But the decision against Effie Ambrose is farcical.
Dundee United subs McLeod and McGrath off, Middleton and Pollitt on, so maybe a bit of swagger now. They're 2-0 up and can try and enjoy the remainder. Of course, any sort of lucky deflected set piece goal from University of Stirling would change things greatly going into the closing stages.
I'll tell you where I'd be a bit concerned. Rugby Park. You know, if Dumbarton can grab a goal and there's 20 minutes left maybe in the clock, something to hang on to.
Now, don't get me wrong, I couldn't care less how long Roger Hanna, David Friel or the guys are stuck at stadiums, right? That is not of my concern.
And I'm with you there.
But from a footballing perspective, there's nothing worse than if it does get a bit nervy, but then Kilmarnock go and win 2-0 in extra time, or St Mirren score 1 in extra. Do us a favour, wrap it up in the 90, or give us some serious drama afterwards.
Yeah, you're right.
I think
nothing worse.
Potentially deeply embarrassing for Derek McInnes, because this is a team 3 divisions beneath you. 3. They may be top of that division, but they are 3 divisions beneath you, and you are second bottom of the one you're in.
Yeah.
And this all adds up to calamity if Dumbarton win that match today.
Van Veen and Cornelius coming on for Motherwell, Crankshaw and Spittle off, so they're 1-0 up at the moment. Absolutely certain Stevie Hamill could be doing with another one 100%. Just to make it a bit more comfortable. Because remember in the last round, Roger Hanna's pointing out, remember it went to extra time
in Dundee,
but they scored about 5 times in extra time, a complete waste of it, and he nearly missed his big curry. Remember, he was away.
That's right.
In Dundee.
That boy will never miss a curry.
So where is he? Ayrshire. He's a bit closer to home, isn't he? He's just up the road, so
can nip down to his house in Girvan.
He'll be fine. What is it looking like on that full-time teaser, Hugh? That's the question.
What it looks like is I have played alongside Kieran Trippier and Stuart Finlay. I've been managed by Tony Mowbray and Kenny Shields. I played in the top 2 tiers in Scotland and in England and in one other European country. I won 2 major domestic cups. In 2 of those 3 countries, I did not win a cup in Scotland.
Incredibly, people have this right.
Yeah.
Really?
Seriously?
It is.
The knowledge out there is
and multiple
staggering.
people as well. So good. Our listeners are unbelievable. Let's do some wrong ones to try and point people in the right direction. A very popular one from Greg's Garden, Sideshow Bob, Craigie, who else? Loads of people. Ethan, lots of people like Josh Thompson, all threw in Yusuf Malumbu.
So they're the Dazzler, but it's not true.
Interesting. What was your thinking there?
Kilmarnock, West Brom.
Right, I got you. I see you. Okay, Bailey thinks it might be Martin Boyle.
No.
Buffalo Alberts, wonder what team they support, has gone for Dominic Ball.
No.
And the United Gossip thinks it might be Ryan Fraser.
No.
Okay, keep the guesses coming then at Clyde SSB. You two don't have it yet, no?
No, not a clue.
You're usually alright at these, I have to say. You're usually alright.
We'll try and narrow it down. Oh, I'll tell you what, I think I have narrowed it down.
Let me see you. I'll decide.
I'll give you the. No, I'm not. I've not got the answer.
All
but
right.
he played for that club, didn't he?
Let me see. Yes. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Right.
And I think he played. Hold on. Did he play?
This doesn't work on radio. Only it's a
Did he play
novelty
somewhere there?
for a minute. There you are. You've got him. Well done.
He's got him.
Annan 3, Bonnie Rose 0 down there in League 2. Southampton 1, Aston Villa 0. The drone game. James Ward-Prowse, was that? I wonder if it was a free kick.
It's got to be. He only ever scores free kicks.
Is that where is he in the Premier League record though for David Beckham? Did he not need one more?
I thought one more would surpass Beckham, would it?
I can't remember. I'll look it up in a second.
Something like that. Unbelievable technique, that boy. What was that? Sorry, I think
my knees sore.
You just whispered, my knees sore. That's what I heard coming through. You alright there?
I think
How can your knee be sore? You've been sitting down the
I
full
think
show.
he's still got 1 or 2 to go to catch David Beckham. So there we are. Alloa 1, Falkirk 2 in the Scottish Cup.
And around that, I read John McGunn today in the paper. He's saying that the money up to 400,000 can make such a difference with a good cup run.
Absolutely. Let's check in with a St Johnstone team, see how they're going to line up against Rangers. Gabriel.
Yeah, 5 changes for St Johnstone and Callum Davidson since their 4-2 defeat to Livingston last weekend. Brown, McPherson, Phillips, Halberg and McLennan all come in. Mitchell, Carey and McGowan or the Spoon all drop out. It's a 3-5-2 formation. In goal will be Remy Matthews. A back 3 of James Brown, Liam Gordon and Andy Considine. Trey Wright will be right wing back with Adam Montgomery. Left wing back Cam McPherson, Daniel Phillips and Melker Halberg in the middle of the park. Conor McLennan's going to just play off Stevie May at the substitutes. Parish, Mitchell, Murphy, Clark, Wotherspoon, Bear, Crawford, Carey and Gallagher.
Not sure it will be lost on Michael Beale, the size of the challenge, and that a trip to McDermott Park was one of the games that did for his predecessor.
Yeah, but he's gone 8 games undefeated now, Michael Beale. The team had St Johnstone played a team managed by Michael Beale, they'd have lost, but they played a team managed by Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, who was sleepwalking towards the door, and that result was the finish of him. So St Johnstone 5 league defeats on the bounce now, all lost. Club in turmoil, fans have deserted them, it's a mutiny, and I can only see one winner tonight, and it's not St Johnstone. Apart
from that though, they've got a great chance. Yeah, Mark, it's a funny one. They're not in a great place. You look at they've said, memorable cup meetings recently, of course. Remember Xander Clark almost scoring and whatnot at Ibrox. Michael Beale will know for a couple of reasons. We mentioned the fact that what happened there earlier in the season. Also, the one of the sticks that was used to beat the Michael Beale Steven Gerrard era was failure in cup competitions. So you'll know what this competition will mean to the fans this season.
Well, especially when they're the defending holders, so he understands what's got to be done today. It's quite amazing how different both teams could be from earlier on in the season. You remember that game? Rangers started the game, very well, for set piece after set piece, but then it was just the same old Rangers. St Johnstone, gritty, determined.
And now Rangers don't start games well.
Yes,
but they
totally
might end
opposite,
up winning it anyway.
Totally opposite. And St Johnstone are the opposite from what they are that day. So I'm afraid for Callum Davidson's side, I can't see anything but
That's
Rangers
got to be the message from Rangers manager tonight. Make sure you don't lose the first goal. They're getting into a bit of a habit of
Didn't do it the other night, did they?
But to be fair, they're showing good character. They did. They lost the
No,
first
they did.
goal
My
against
apologies.
Kilmarnock.
What was the outlier in the recent games? Forgive me, there have been too many.
Ross
But I'll let
County
you go.
away, they won with it conceding. Dundee United away the week before, they didn't concede.
Anyway,
yeah, but it'll still be the message. But I was trying to hear there if Gabriel was speaking about the pitch. We looked at Celtic Park today. That's what McDermott's never a good pitch. So they'll need to address that. But I find Rangers' side tonight will be too strong for St Johnstone.
Covered in sand when Livy played there, but it didn't put them off. They scored 4 goals. So sometimes you just have to overcome the conditions.
Annan 4, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Tommy Goss with a penalty. Remember, that is a league game, that's a Scottish League 2 game, so not got the knock-on effects of the cup. I think that James Ward-Prowse goal that we spoke about and speculated as to whether it was a free kick has been ruled out anyway, so don't need to worry. David Beckham's free kick record lives to fight another day.
Shows you how good he was, Beckham back in the
Many
day.
to go?
18
free kicks.
Not bad,
Yeah, I don't think I've ever scored a free kick.
No, that doesn't surprise me. You can't kick the ball properly though, remember?
No.
Or couldn't? You were instinctive.
I was just a poacher, mate. I was a poacher, but
That's what instinctive means.
Yeah, a poacher.
You were instinctive. No, I was a poacher.
Okay. Anyway, lots to look forward to, because we should have a fairly exciting conclusion to these games, hopefully. Like Kilmarnock and St Mirren, they might do it the boring way, but it's starting to get nervy. Carson's just had to save from Cameron again. It is getting tense, according to Dave Galloway, to David Friel, sorry.
Well, this is the time that you would expect Arbroath to start piling on a wee bit of pressure and start lumping the ball into the Motherwell box, because there's no point at this stage trying to play round teams. We've got to go in the box, put them under pressure, especially the way Motherwell defend recently. But it's quite interesting, keeping a clean sheet up until now.
Steady
They've made changes.
Still
I wonder
tight.
how Blaney's done in there, and McGinn at left back. It could not have get any worse than what we witnessed last week against Ross County, and how Ross County scored their goal. Can't get much worse than that. So improvements all round.
Yeah, but I would be more comfortable if it was a second one, because you're right. Dick Campbell will just throw men up there. They'll throw balls in. They'll try and pick up scraps. They'll make it difficult. So I'm sure Stevie Hamill will be desperate just to put this game to bed and get the second goal. Let's probably kill it off.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
3-0 to Dundee United. It's a simple finish from Craig Sibbald. Stirling Uni, it's getting to that stage. They're down, getting treatment for cramp. It's understandable. I can see some sources giving it to Glenn Middleton, but there's a suggestion Craig Sibbald. Either way, it is 3-0 to Dundee United, and turning into the type of afternoon that it should have been.
Yeah, that has an efficient look about it, a job done look about it. They might have taken a long while to get there, but the Uni boys look absolutely out on their feet, and it's Glenn Middleton's goal.
Yeah, but I mean, the goalkeeper,
what was he doing? I know it's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a high ball over the top. He's ran out to the 18
line,
yard line,
he's
and
not
he
getting there.
thinks I'm not getting there. It's a good finish for him.
I could hear that from there. Keepers away. That is a keepers away.
Loves that shout, doesn't he?
That is a keepers away.
And I think this all adds into his hatred of goalkeepers. He must have been in the box, right? This is what's happened. He's been back defending a set piece one time, and the goalkeepers came out and shouted, "Keepers away." The team scored, and he's got the blame for it, and he's never forgave goalkeepers.
I would never go back and defend. Absolutely not a chance.
Too far to go, wasn't
exactly, Hugh. I played right across that 18 yard line.
Mandron's fired over for Motherwell, I should say, 6 yards out. Bit of a missed opportunity, but he did get his Motherwell account open earlier on, so maybe looking to add to that again and make sure it's a comfortable finish to the evening for Motherwell. But as it stands, just that 1 goal advantage. It's definitely getting tense in Paisley, and I would imagine at Kilmarnock too. League 2 Dumbarton.
You know, if Dundee put out St Mirren, okay, it's not a cause for fans to gather outside and chant for the manager's head. But I go back to it. Kilmarnock are playing a team who are 3 divisions below them. That's not good.
I've always felt that kind of mid-range of clubs in Scotland, Mark, weeks like this sum it up. 1 week ago, you're talking about Kilmarnock seriously rattling Celtic. They had a real go at times, a couple of breaks here and there. I think Celtic deserved to win the game, don't get me wrong, but a couple of breaks here and there, maybe they get the penalty decision. It wouldn't be ridiculous to think they could have got something. A week later, you're 10 minutes away from 5 minutes away from being taken to extra time by a League 2 team at home in the Cup.
Incredible, the difference in performance levels that takes to get to that level. But you even think at the game at Celtic Park, where they put up a fight against Celtic and take plaudits for the game, and then they take that to Hampden, and then they're serving up this to their fans. So not a good week for Derek McInnes for different reasons. Decisions maybe went against him last week, midweek going ahead then losing, but today he's only got his own players to blame for not getting over the line against Dumbarton.
Especially at home, you must make that home advantage count. It's different if you're a big team and you get away to the underdogs and it's a tight ground and it's a hard ground. You look at Motherwell, for instance, everyone knew that it's going to be a difficult game at Broth, always is, the way Dick Campbell goes about his business. But there's no excuse whatsoever for Kilmarnock. They should be easily winning that game.
Yeah, especially at home, you would have to say. Hugh, a reminder of the teaser, please.
I have played alongside Kieran Trippier and Stuart Finlay, been managed by Tony Mowbray and Kenny Shields, played in the top 2 tiers in Scotland and in England and in 1 other European country. I won 2 major domestic cups in 2 of the 3 countries. The one I did not win a cup in was Scotland.
Stephen Wood thinks it might be Kevin McDonald.
No.
Okay. David Kerr thinks Haris Vukic. Remember him?
Yeah, but it's
and
not.
John Marshall is going to throw in Bobo Balde.
Bobo, but
none. Okay.
Vukic, your boy from Newcastle. Was he from Newcastle on loan? No. To Rangers.
One of the Newcastle
Played
Five
against him,
as they became
for
known.
Dumbarton against Rangers.
You just want to bring up that day that you scored against.
Oh, Gordon, now that you bring it up, I did score that day. Thank you.
A great goal, honestly.
Is that the one you keep showing me?
Have you ever seen it before? I mean, don't get me wrong, you lost the game anyway, didn't you?
Lost the game 4-1, but anyway, you got small victories.
Was it a free kick?
No, it was a left foot volley. He was playing left back, came on to it, struck it beautifully.
You never seen it now?
No, I don't
That's
think
not bad. I was there.
Belter.
I've never really seen you play, to be honest.
So you keep telling me. I know. You don't know what you're missing.
Quite happy with that.
Right, we're getting to the closing stages now. This is where it's supposed to get tense. It's supposed to get exciting in cup ties. I'm not sure what we're going to get really in the way of drama, because at worst, at the moment, it's Kilmarnock heading to extra time. It's not great, but it's not. The drama's not done yet. Same with St Mirren, maybe heading to extra time against Dundee. And maybe time for Arbroath to find an equaliser. But Dundee United have done their job. Livy survived the early scare, back in front. So I don't know where the shock is going to be, Hugh Keevins.
Well, I think we're going to extra time in Paisley and in Kilmarnock. And a shock for me is Kilmarnock, Dumbarton winning. They're in the bottom division in Scotland. Kilmarnock are in the top division. That's a shock.
I gave you the shock. Dundee. I gave you it at 3 o'clock.
Okay, we'll find out. How do you think our old pal Alex Ray's mood will be?
What's your score?
It's 4-0 to Stoke.
Oh dear.
In the 83rd minute. I can't see him taking that too well.
He usually doesn't, does he?
No, I don't think so.
Doesn't take losing at 6-a-sides well. Never mind getting dropped 4-0.
They've been doing okay, but have they not?
Yeah, they've done okay. I think so.
Yeah, we wish Alec all the best and more t-shirts to come.
T-shirts for belters, wouldn't they? See what else they can get us.
Yeah, wee tracky bottoms, Alec, please.
And there's you saying he won the last 4 weeks in the job as well. He'd be back with us,
you know.
And now you're wanting kit off.
Well, he's 4-0 down. He might be up the road next week. Don't worry about it.
You not going down to Reading to take in a game?
Yeah,
I thought you were
I'm going to do.
gonna go watch.
I'm going to do a club visit. I'm really looking forward to it. I've been to Reading before. Lovely.
When is that?
Probably in the next month or so.
Look forward to your scouting report.
It's good.
You're going.
You're going with him. Sometimes you.
I can't wait. It's going to be
Right,
great.
come on, give me something. Well, I was going to say I'm desperate for some sort of late drama, but I don't know if I would include an Arbroath equaliser within that. I have to put personal feelings in at some point. But let's see if we can get anything at Kilmarnock, anything in Paisley, and take it from there. St Johnstone Rangers is 45 minutes away at the moment. Gabriel's already given you the teams.
Arbroath should bring on Big Rab Douglas,
Up front.
50 years old. Yeah,
That'd be brilliant.
get him up there.
Yeah.
Who was it? Who was
Man
it?
City, remember, did it with David James.
Yeah.
And Willow Flack
That was Stuart
was
Pearce.
still on the bench and didn't go.
It was terrible, wasn't it?
Stuart Pearce, that was
He caused
it?
a bit of chaos, but did he not? He was just fouling people and like falling all over. I think he did cause a bit of chaos. But
Who was the goalie that scored this season?
Snedden.
yeah, Jimmy
Thistle.
Snedden. Yeah. Brilliant.
They could
wasn't
do with that just now. They're still one each, are they? With Dunfermline.
yeah. By the way, there's a few of these heading to extra time.
Are you going to keep the lads on at the ground at extra time?
Of course.
What? You think
I think that's a bit unfair.
one of Scotland's premier football radio shows is going to allow them to just leave at full time when
up
there's
the
extra
road.
time still to be? Seriously?
Yeah, what's up with that? We've got TVs. We can do it ourselves. Let the boys go up the road, get an early night.
Honestly,
Good for our listeners. Don't listen to us. Switch on the telly.
Can you imagine Gary Lineker getting a buzz in his ear saying, "Just go up the road, Gary"? And don't.
No, we can
Well,
handle it.
he certainly,
We've got
he certainly got a
TVs.
buzz of a different kind during the week.
That was brilliant.
I'm just getting over the accusations that was actually your Nokia
I
that
know.
was
How dare they?
responsible for that. That was quite a moment, wasn't it?
I can assure you it was not the Nokia.
Let me just double check, make sure there's nothing strapped to the desk in here. Just have a wee look around. Don't want to be the victim.
No. I mean, to go to those lengths for a prank is, you've got to take your hat off to somebody for that imagination.
Chaos. It caused absolute chaos, didn't it?
I love the Lineker's reaction. Oh no.
He's got it out. The Nokia.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Curtis Main headers wide and then gets clattered and he's going off.
Oh,
So Eamon Brophy's coming on for Curtis Main. St Mirren really could be doing me just wrapping this up. It's a tougher tie, that, I suppose. He's not injured, by the way, just subbed. But Dundee, one of the better teams in the Championship, when they come calling. Hugh, the Seagulls have equalised. Brendan Rodgers won't be happy with you. Leicester 2, Brighton 2, Evan Ferguson.
my grandson likes Evan Ferguson, good player, and that's good because Leicester have never lost to Brighton at Leicester.
Does he go to the away games here?
No, he went to Liverpool earlier in the season, but that all the home games. But he got a ticket for Anfield and went with his dad.
I should have known, because I would have heard of him, but I thought I'll just double check anyway when he came on the scene a few weeks ago. Did anyone else do this? You Google Evan Ferguson, just thinking, sounds Scottish. He's not.
He's Irish.
He's Irish.
Yeah.
I just saw the name and thought, maybe have we got a striker here that we can call up? And there we are. So he is indeed. Talking about, I've got a friend who's a big Chelsea fan. You know, one of these weirdos that doesn't have a Scottish team, just Chelsea, but as in has been forever. Pre-Russian money, all that stuff, way back from knee high.
Even stranger.
Comes from his family and so on, so they're big into it. And he's down to the game today to watch a 0-0 draw.
Yeah.
So yeah, you'd be better
Got
off
to see
at
Mudryk though, who
Arbroath or something.
ripped Celtic apart, and now
Yeah,
he's on the big stage.
He looked quite lively in some of his appearance today. But yeah, we'll watch, having seen him up close.
What did they go for? 85 million or something like that.
There you go.
We've got a goal. Gayfield. Is it a Jeezy Peeps or is it a goal flash?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's a goal flash, which means it's Motherwell. It's another simple goal. It's another tap in for Mandron, and he's got his second and Motherwell's to round it all off. We've got full time whistle, so very quickly let's do this. Hugh, just get it over and done with.
The second half teaser.
With the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I played alongside Kieran Trippier and Stuart Finlay. I was managed by Tony Mowbray and Kenny Shields. I played in the top 2 tiers in Scotland and in England and in one other European country. I won 2 major domestic cups in England and that other European country, but not in Scotland. I am Gary O'Connor.
I'm going to hold the winners because we've got a big goal and it's a very, very late one indeed at Rugby Park.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And Kilmarnock have grabbed it. It's a stunner. Jones on the volley after the 90-minute mark, and that is exactly what Kilmarnock needed. It might just be the goal, well, it should be the goal that sees them through and avoiding the awkwardness, the nervousness of extra time. So thanks for reading the question, Hugh. Very quickly on the podium for that, Gary O'Connor answer inside the SPFL was in 3rd place, Annie's Land in 2nd place, and Jonathan McHugh 90, you were the winner. It's finished at Gayfield. Fraser?
It has finished Arbroath 0, Motherwell 2. I think all eyes were on Motherwell as a potential shock today, but in the end a really good professional performance sees the Fir Park side in tomorrow's 5th round draw. Goal in each half from new signing Mikael Mandron, but to be honest, Motherwell much more comfortable in that. Mandron won't score 2 easier goals in his career. Motherwell were ahead at half time and deservedly through the opener in 27 minutes. Blair Spittle with a lovely pass. It put McKinstry through 1-on-1 with the goalkeeper. He could have tried to poke the ball past the goalkeeper himself, but quick thinking by the young winger, he just touched it to the side with his first touch, and in stepped Mandron to tap into the empty net. McKinstry goal disallowed. Spittle hit the side net, but nothing really from Arbroath, and Dick Campbell would have wanted more from his team in the second half, but it was Motherwell who continued to be in top. Mandron raced onto a loose ball. He got a touch to it, but really good save by Gill. Was quickly off his line, then got a Crankshaw cross, was fumbled by Gill. McKinstry onto it 12 yards out. Gill redeemed himself with a good save. He was out quickly to block, but it was too comfortable for Arbroath's liking. Substitutes Lynn and Hilson came on, much to the pleas of the Arbroath support, but they just couldn't get that goal, and it was really a struggle for them to create anything. Liam Kelly didn't have a save to make throughout the whole game. It's Motherwell towards the end that were trying to get that second goal. Max Johnson, the right low cross, it fell to Goss, a great block by Stewart to stop a certain goal. And McKinstry snatched that shot from 20 yards. He thought he'd less time than he did, but he scuffed his shot wide. Mandron then should have settled it when he fired over from a corner of the 6-yard box when he had an excellent chance with his left foot. But the goal did come 3 minutes into stoppage time, and Mandron again with the tap in. Sean Goss did really well on the left hand side and rolled the ball across the 6-yard box, and Mandron just had to tap it into the back of the net. Motherwell really comfortable. They'll be hoping this kick starts the league form. It's been pretty poor in recent weeks, but they're through an awkward cup tie with pretty much an easy passage to the next round. Full time at Gayfield are both 0, Motherwell 2.
So Motherwell into the hat then, and it's also finished in Dave Galloway's game at Tannadice. Dave?
Yeah, Dundee United 3, Stirling University 0. A bright start by Sterling Jarvis with a 3rd-minute shot parried by Birigiti. United went close when Levitt's drive was deflected for a corner from which the ball was cleared off the line. The home team very much dominating possession in the opening period, but the visitors had a decent penalty claim turned down when Stokes took a tumble in the box. The deadlock was finally broken by United in the 45th minute. A really neat turn and shot from Behich finding the top corner of the net. McGrath really should have made it 2 a few minutes after the interval when he was put through 1-on-1, but he placed his shot wide. Then McLeod in front of goal didn't connect properly with his header, and the teenager's effort went wide. Only a brilliant save from Fry kept out Mulgrew's header following a United corner. Stirling Uni working very hard, but you could see they were tiring. The hosts certainly had up the pace as well, and Fletcher rippled the side net from Behich's cross, and it was 2-0 after 68 minutes. McLeod with the ball in, and McGrath netted with a lovely bicycle kick. On 81 it was 3, Mulgrew's long ball, the keeper hesitated, and a simple but effective Middleton lob did the rest. The Tangerines also passed up some other chances as their visitors visibly slowed up, but a great effort from them. It was though comfortable in the end for Dundee United. a very good game to watch though. Dundee United 3, Stirling University 0.
No shock there then. Well done to Stirling Uni though. That remains a great story, no doubt about it. Getting to this stage, getting to play Premiership opposition at Tannadice, big crowd, really well done to them. Really sums up the cup, but one step too far. And congratulations to Dundee United. Hopefully Kilmarnock, well, I was going to say hopefully for Roger Hannah, I should have said that he doesn't have to endure any extra time, but you never know, maybe there's a sting in the tail. Dumbarton, you would have to imagine though, deflated by conceding that 90th minute Jordan Jones goal, so just waiting on the full-time nod from Roger. And then David Friel at St Mirren against Dundee, where it is goalless and it is heading to extra time, but maybe a bit left there because there was that delay. Anyway, job done for Dundee United, professional.
Yeah. You can ask no more really. Half time 0-0. That was 1-0 to get a goal very, very late on. That just took the sting out of it, and they've gone on second half, professional job. I mean, you see the difficulty that Kilmarnock had today in disposing of Dumbarton. You can also see the difficulty that St Mirren are having against a team from a lower division. So get the job done, and Liam Fox has done that.
I have to agree. I don't think Dundee United were not by any means good, but job done in the hat. Next round.
Finished at Kilmarnock, Roger Hannah.
Kilmarnock 1, Dumbarton 0, and substitute Jordan Jones is the hero at Rugby Park. The game had just gone into stoppage time. It looked destined for extra time. It would have been no more than Dumbarton, the League 2 leaders, deserved for a really terrific defensive display here. But then Danny Armstrong broke clear in the right. It wasn't one of his better deliveries, Gordon. It actually took a big deflection up in the air, but it fell perfectly at the back post for Jones to thrash a left foot volley beyond goalkeeper Brett Long and send Kelly into the heart for the last 16. They had huffed and puffed right through the 90 minutes. They had a few half chances in the first half. Kel Lafferty had an effort headed off the line by Martin McNiff. Fraser Murray and Joe Wright both off target at that stage. Lafferty was hooked at half time with Kyle Vassell coming on the substitute. He went close. Brett Long slapping a header of his over the top. Armstrong was always a threat down the right hand side, and Jones, when he came on for the injured Fraser Murray, was a threat down the left. But Dumbarton, they also had glimpses of goal in the second half. Kelly goalkeeper Zach Hemming having to save from Ryan Wallace and David Wilson in quick succession before McNiff, after 84 minutes, had an effort just wide of the post from a delivery by Ryan Blair. It looked as if Stevie Farnell's men bagged with a decent travelling support down from Dumbarton. It looked for all in the world they were going to get the extra half hour here. But then the cruelest of finishes for the part-timers. Armstrong the creator, Jones with an emphatic finish. Kelly somehow are through. Kilmarnock 1, Dumbarton 0.
The relief on the voice of Roger Hannah, not having to spend an extra 30 plus minutes in Ayrshire. He's heading back up the road, and Kelly are in the hat. Well done to Kilmarnock. Plucky effort by Dumbarton on the day, but not quite good enough. And barring any sort of late drama that we hadn't expected, it will be St Mirren Dundee heading to extra time. Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, not the only ones. Ross County,
Yeah, of course, yeah.
extra time at Hamilton.
Thistle
Dunfermline. Yeah, so overtime is the order of the day.
Don't mention that. That's not part of the plan. Producer Callum will be.
Not for us.
No, I was going to say
the Ross County result, I think that's kind of flown under the radar today. Hamilton, we have been speaking about John Rankin, how difficult it's been for him this season and to get a result. Well, he certainly got a result today holding Ross County, and I wonder if Malky Mackay comes under a wee bit of pressure if they lose that one in extra time.
Well, if you're sitting bottom of the league, your form's really poor, you don't look like you can score goals, you're away from home to a team that's really struggling in Hamilton, you do come under pressure.
Full time in Paisley. David Friel.
Full time, Gordon. St Mirren 0, Dundee 0. There'll be no relief in my voice. It's another half hour here. It's not been the greatest game, to be perfectly honest with you. Overall, I think a draw was a fair result. There was a lengthy delay in that first half thanks to that injury to Tyler French. We wish him all the best. It looked a bad one. Both teams took a while to get going. Dundee grew into the game. They had the best chances in the first half. Lee Ashcroft header, Lyle Cameron had a good volley saved. I think St Mirren came into a bit more in the second half. Alec Grieve had the ball in the net but ruled out for offside, and there was no VAR to check. Mark O'Hara also had a shot charged down, and Lyle Cameron up the other end forced another save from Trevor Carson. So a draw, fair result. We're into extra time in this one. Full time, St Mirren 0, Dundee 0.
That's going to be tense. St Mirren fans, I'm sure, will be chewing the fingernails, hoping they can get over the line in that one. But as far as the 3 o'clock 90 minutes games are concerned, they are done, and now it's over to you. 01419511025. So what are you thinking then? What are you thinking after today's football, Celtic fans? If it's the performance, what did you make of that? Was it straightforward, professional enough? More goals for Kyogo, more goals for Aaron Moy, David Turnbull in on the act. So what did you make of it? I've got a funny feeling it was Ange Postecoglou's comments afterwards that have got you thinking though. Josip Juranovic has been given permission to go to Union Berlin and speak to them. It looks like he's on his way, and Georgios Giakoumakis left out because there's a lot going on in the background, says Ange Postecoglou. So what do you make of that, Celtic fans? Do let us know. Any Morton fans out there that want to bemoan the handball, anyone who wants to clear up that handball decision for us, we are all ears. Let us know, and we'll build up to Rangers game at McDiarmid Park, as well as keeping you across all the late results from the Scottish Cup when we return. 0141 951 1025. Let's hear from you next.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Luker's Land Rover. The big event is on now with exclusive discounts on approved used Land Rovers.